Greetings, everyone. And welcome to a very annoyed episode of Monster Party.
Monster Party!
Monster Party!
I'm annoyed, angry. Boy,
I never.
Tarnation.
Oh man.
Okay. Well, I guess we
Speaking
should.
of tarnations, who are you, sir?
I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroh.
And I'm James Gonis.
And for this episode,
We're
we're upset.
we're
ornery.
gonna start the new year by complaining.
Happy New Year.
We're turning over a new leaf. We're going to complain about things.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's you guys are switching your leaves to my side is what it is. You're flipping to my leaf.
We're just annoyed about the
leaf.
right things. That's the difference.
Right.
What?
Yes. You go off on these things where I never know what you're going to be upset about or annoyed at. Like, really? You're mad at that?
Oh, you just wait.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which means what is the topic?
The topic is horror pet peeves.
Horror pet peeves.
Oh my God! You just blew out our entire sound system with those
So
peeves.
we've done sci-fi pet peeves.
We have.
before,
We
so
have
now
at
we're
that.
tackling the horror genre.
We did sci-fi pet peeves back in September 17th, 2018 with the lovely Sue Murphy.
Yeah,
That's
She
right.
is
That's right.
a delight
But
always.
it's funny that during the show, Sean every once in a while would spit out, if this were horror, and he'd say something about, a horror pet peeve. And so we thought, oh my gosh, this is something that we're going to have to do.
That's right.
It's inevitable.
Yes, it is time. It is 2020. It is time.
I am ready.
And I've got this. It's like I've got an itch. I've got this.
You've got an itch.
anger. But speaking of itches and anger, who could we have with us to go over these pet
and
peeves?
anger. Following that trail, it will only lead us to one place.
And one person.
Oh my God, he is an actor, a comedian, a writer, a producer. What can't he do? I don't know.
He's also-
and I don't want to know. Ladies and gentlemen, it's John Matta.
John Matta.
Monster Party!
Returning.
is back.
Mr. Matta
He is back.
Napkin.
That's
Friend
right.
of the show, back again. This is your third time.
Third.
Third time. This
Plus
one is
the
it.
Trinity. Yeah.
This is the one that's
That's
going to
right.
break you.
But you're a talented guy. You're also, Matt mentioned some things, but you're also an artist.
Yeah.
That's
You're
true,
also,
yes.
and your wife steals napkins for you to draw on.
Yeah.
So you
does.
can create this
And
wonderful.
she's on a bunch of TV shows now. She's
Cool.
on Bless This Mess on
Rose.
ABC. She did about 8 or 10 of them this year, or the
Nice.
second season. So yeah, she's doing everything. That little girl.
You guys are just like united artists in
Yeah,
one
we're very
household.
We're big power.
Yeah,
couple.
you're power
Yeah,
players.
you don't end up in Glendale without doing about 9 things right.
Who have you destroyed this week?
John Landis again.
Oh, that guy can't get a break.
No, he can't really.
Oh, we'll have to hear that story.
Point of order.
Point of order.
Isn't this John's 4th time on the show?
Uh-oh.
Is it?
I want to
Wait.
say there was horror hosts,
Yeah.
2 topic free-for-alls.
Oh,
That's
that's
right.
what. That's
This is number 4.
because he did 2 topic free for alls.
Uh-huh.
Demon Boo.
There
Oh
we
yeah, and then
go.
I did
Right.
one with Jolene.
That's right.
That was the last
That was
topic
nice
free-for-all.
having a lady in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actual female.
Well, I'm here, so it's kind of like having. a
Yeah,
lady.
That was actually back March 15th, 2018.
There
Wow.
you go.
All right.
So
there
it's
you
been
go.
a while.
4.
So I'm
If we
sorry.
keep doing the show, you'll eventually just end up doing more shows. It seems.
Well, James,
Yeah.
thank you for setting the record straight.
Yes, thank you.
Because
Well, I
it-
know there's a lot of listeners who are like, hey, wait a minute.
No,
Yeah,
no, no,
yeah.
no.
Look, we drink a lot.
No,
okay?
and the other thing, if there's anything I like, I want the truth. I want us to. I want to get it right. If I make a mistake, set me right. Okay.
yeah.
So, okay, so this topic...
And what else can you do that we haven't mentioned yet? Is there like archery or like what are we? Is there anything
everything.
else?
No.
Yeah,
Ballroom-
you have a
ballroom
fantastic
dancing.
thing collection. You collect
Yeah,
nothing
full-
but the thing.
Oh, yeah, the thing
when
from
I
the
look
Fantastic
at-
Four.
Yes.
Yes.
When I look at Matt's stuff in the room that we're in, I always felt that that's a hole that I could fall down. So what I decided was just one thing,
Yeah.
being the thing, I enjoyed the orange. Someone
Yes.
gave me 2 of them. Now I think I have about 240 of them, 250.
Wow.
But I have them all in a case, so now I look like a collector.
Yeah.
As opposed to a creepy 50-some-year-old dude.
Is it the world's biggest thing collection?
No.
Oh.
No, but I've made
still gotta get you-
made a point of never having. You notice that the last Fantastic Four movie, nothing came out. There was nothing, and I refuse to own a Chickless. So I don't own any.
Didn't you like his voice though?
No, nothing about him.
No.
No, nothing about
okay.
Michael Chiklis.
Okay, so you like more classic things.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do you have the?
He's got to have the eyebrows, right?
Yeah, you had those.
Yeah,
Chiklis
I had
didn't
the
have the
big,
eyebrows.
the big bust, the Kirby one
Do you
that
have the-
that says Alicia Masters on the back.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Do you have the Mego figure?
No, that
You gotta get that. That's
remains the only thing in my collection. The problem is, if once I get it,
It'll be
I
done.
might be done.
Well, no.
And that's like the lady from the Winchester Mystery House.
No,
You know, once I get it, I die, right?
You know,
I don't want to die, Larry.
No,
Figure,
she
though.
died first. She said, "Keep going, keep building," and then she died. Then they went, "What are we
Yeah.
gonna
So
do?"
if you die, we'll just keep collecting
No.
things for you.
Here's what I got to say to you, Mr.
Yes.
Matta Napkin.
Yeah.
You've got this thing about, but I don't want to spend more than $50. You know what? What I want to tell you is you've been successful enough.
$100?
Go pay the 150 or whatever it is, and you know what? Do it and
I
be.
enjoy the chase more. Like, my favorite thing was the first time I saw Matt at a collectible show, how he waits sometimes till the end, and then he swoops in
Sure.
with
You can get
both
bargains.
of his fists with 20s in them of going through and buying stuff on pennies on the dollar, of letting guys know, yeah, you could put it back in your car if you want, or you can take this $20. And he was buying $400 items.
Right,
It was
yeah.
fantastic
No,
what he
no,
did.
I'd like-
So I think part of it is
Yeah.
the chase and being,
Sure.
And I love things that drive me crazy. So I love the idea of lowballing a guy on where they start off with Amigo of $1, you know, a figure for $1. But again, it's $70 postage. And then I go the dollar and watch it go up and driving myself crazy. And
Now, wait
I
a
go
minute.
up a quarter every time.
Do you want mint on card?
No, I take them out.
No, you can definitely
You
get
take
a
him
loose
out?
thing.
I take
Yeah.
everything out. I not that big of a
Everything?
collector. Yeah, I've always felt take everything out. I keep the boxes pristine,
Keep-
but
yeah, keeps the
then I
boxes.
keep them in the case. Like I have,
How do you like that?
I have. I think it's Argentina, an artist who made one there. I've got rings, so I've got a lot of stuff that was handmade for thing stuff, which is cool.
Oh, cool.
So, and then sometimes it would never happen with you guys, but sometimes I forget I collect Ben Grimm's because it's just in the room. It's this gorgeous big
Yeah.
hunk of orange, and I'll forget, and then 6 months, wait, I haven't looked, and then I get in hard again. So last Christmas, I got a really good one where I did offer up where I had to meet the guy in the parking lot.
Wow.
So, and then I was trying, so it was a cash, and we actually touched hands.
Wow, this is
Cool.
I've
when
never
we
had
did
a Ben Grimm made of cocaine before.
Yeah, right out of a
Yeah.
CVS parking lot.
Do you ever see something really cool and you're like, oh yeah, but I can't. I only collect Ben Grimm, so I'm not going to.
Yeah. Because
But
it's
then
a way
that's
to
why
keep,
you're doing
it's a
what
way
you're
to
doing.
keep that you got to have rules or anarchy will happen.
That's true.
Yeah, look around you.
I would love to be able to do this. It would get loose on me fast.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's never happened with me. Never. I've always got it reined in and under control.
Well, speaking of control,
Yes, sir.
this has been great, but I think maybe we should get
should
to
get
our
into the
horror
topic,
pet
yes.
peeve.
And now this is going to be this is like our gripes about particular elements or facets of horror cinema or maybe TV or whatever.
Sure.
That just gets on our nerves. It kind of bugs us.
Yes.
You know, it's like stuff that like we wish that shouldn't be there.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
I accept that.
All right. Cool. So I think maybe John should go first.
John, what
I'm
do you
going to
got?
go with my first one is with any possession movie,
oh, here we go.
Right.
when it ends, they're always fine.
Yeah.
They're always fine. So the demon
Yeah.
leaves their body. The first great horror movie they ever saw, obviously, was The Exorcist.
Sure.
So when Raven at the end, mommy, and then he hugs her,
Well, you
like,
can
would
make-
you expect her to go, hey, my little girl parts are killing me. Were somebody putting a cross in there or something? But at the end of every possession thing, people are backwards. Their heads are spinning around.
true,
and at the end, they're absolutely fine.
John, I never thought of that.
Wait a minute. So let me be the counterpoint here.
Yes.
Which is that because that once the demon has gone and done its thing, we're talking supernatural being with supernatural powers, that once that demon is gone, everything kind of heals back up
The
again.
end of The Exorcist, remember, she had
She had a couple,
has a couple of scars.
She has a couple of scars, but her
psychologically
neck doesn't have to be then screwed like a back on again like
but
the
at least
Flintstones.
your back would hurt a little bit if they kept that scene in of her going backwards down
Look,
the
you're
stairs.
you're walking down the street, you see a priest. Yeah, your back hurts, but you're not going to be a
But actually, I never thought
about it.
I never thought about that though. The famous scene where her head turns around all the way.
Wouldn't her neck be a little
Yeah, a
sore?
little bit.
I mean, wouldn't that
So
kill her?
what you're
It's
saying is
supernatural.
Satan
Okay.
is able to cure.
No.
what
Spines.
Satan
Well, the demon
gives,
Pazuzu,
Satan can take away.
Oh, yeah, it
Pazuzu,
was
the demon,
Pazuzu.
wanted to keep her alive.
Pazuzu,
though.
yes.
He wanted to keep
Through
her
the
alive.
powers of Satan.
Yeah, he wanted to keep her alive though, to keep causing havoc.
So
you know.
Pazuzu can cure.
Okay,
Well,
John.
maybe he has the control of her body at that point.
John, here's what I would say to you.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yes.
Now, when the demon leaves her, she's crying. And you could say, is it because she's in pain? And she says, mother, mother, or whatever. And mom comes and she hugs. And there's like a brief moment there. And then the other priest comes in and kind of sees what's happened. And then it kind of cuts. It kind of ends. What we don't see, what we don't hear is, my back is killing me. I got a crank
in
in
the
my
book.
neck. And so John, I see where you're
every
going.
demon movie,
No.
like you've seen a year later in demon movies,
Yeah.
where you're going,
Right.
they really had to fuck this person up.
Well,
Yeah.
see, psychologically is where I think you never really get the feeling like, even if you came out on the other end of this and like, hey, your soul's free or whatever, you would still be fucked up by it, I think.
Yeah.
To a certain
Well,
extent.
the question would be whether they're aware of it or they didn't know what was
Or
going
has
on
effects
at all.
later on.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know.
no.
I mean,
I'm just
where
talking
they,
physical pain.
they blew the
of-
opportunity in Exorcist 2.
I was gonna say, yeah, she
where-
is haunted by.
Yeah,
the
but she has to
demon,
go into
but
like
she's-
biofeedback.
Yeah,
and, you know,
yeah.
she's normal most of the time. It's
Right,
like, no,
right.
no. I'd be in major therapy.
It's like she's
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
she's kind of like hidden it all in her subconscious
Yeah,
now or something.
repressed.
Supposedly.
Would you
Right.
really be in major therapy? Really?
I already am in major therapy.
And that's without a demon.
That's right.
Right.
You know that it kind of makes you wonder
I can
if
see
you
that,
had a
though.
demon
Any
go
demon
in you.
possession movie, there's been hundreds of them in horror.
It would have been
right.
great to see at the end of The Exorcist to all of a sudden see her head spin back around, like a
Tex Avery
balsa wood
cartoon.
airplane. You know, like-
Or as the car drove away and you just saw her head spinning. Up the,
Yeah,
oh, that's a relief.
no.
weird
no,
Beetlejuice and catching it.
No, that would not be neither. It would
Cracking
be
her head like an
funny.
action hero. You know, like
It wouldn't be
cracking her neck.
funny, and it would be it just wouldn't fit.
Well, that's
I disagree.
If I could go for my backup one is in movies like this with all of her screaming going on.
Yeah.
Cops never just showed up out of anywhere.
That's true.
Going, what the fuck's going on?
Well,
Lights are going
yeah,
off.
maybe they
I'm
were,
hearing beds
well,
slam. I know
yeah.
they padded the room a little bit,
Right.
well,
but
the
there was a lot
neighborhood-
of screaming
Well,
going
like
on.
neighbors might have said.
Yeah,
it.
any
Neighbors.
demon movie
Neighbors.
where there's a
Yeah.
possession going on, you would think a neighbor would, hey, what's going on? My dog's going nuts.
Right.
Or anything. Nothing. Cops never
my
show
my
up
cream is
ever.
like spoiling in my coffee. What is that from?
I visited Georgetown once, and I went to those steps.
Oh yeah.
It's suburban, but it's still. I mean, the houses are pretty close together.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna hear something. I think. Yeah, there's gonna be.
Well, maybe
angry
it was like
neighbors.
No,
Yeah.
I-
There's gonna be a safety call from the cops.
This is-
Everything all right here?
And it was a row home, so you're right next to somebody.
Yeah, sure.
This
Well,
is what I-
their neighbor was Rosemary Woodhouse before she moved to New York, so she didn't.
The whole block. You get one demon, it just ruins the neighborhood.
Matt, come on! Don't you think when you live in a neighborhood and you hear some screaming, something it's none of my business.
Oh, you're a
You know?
great fucking neighbor.
I'm just
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
always in it. I'm always in it.
Wait.
There's screaming going on in my neighborhood. I'm outside right away.
Are you
I'm
serious?
beloved in my neighborhood. 'cause
You don't
I'm
know
such
what
an
could be
asshole.
out there.
Well, you're gonna.
Well, within reason, there's been. Well, there was one where I had a retractable baton and I had to stop carrying it around the neighborhood.
Retractable baton. God, I love you.
I saw a kid peeing on the side of the place and.
Whack!
he turned around and I go, "Hey man, what are you doing?" And he goes, "What are you gonna do?" And here's the beauty of it. I had it in a fanny pack in front of me,
Wow.
so I reached into my fanny pack.
that's
So
awesome.
I thought he thought I was gonna take out a tissue. Snap! And
Did he take
looked
off?
at. No, he got really panicky. And
Did he forget to
and he
zip up the
goes, "Sir,
slide?"
I didn't." And he goes, "What are you going?" And I just said, "I don't think you're going to like how this is going to end." And I sounded incredibly cool. Where as I said, I went, "Wow, that's incredible." I said that out
Did
loud.
you have your glasses on and like walking out there? And
It was dark, and when I have a bigger coat on, I come lurching at you.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah. real
I see.
scary
I
to
want to see
Yeah.
that action hero, that like
Yeah.
Death Wish Bronson character that
Right.
carries a retractable baton in a fanny pack. That's so
Right.
fucking awesome.
32 points of articulation.
That's cool.
all right, well, that's nice.
a good
Okay,
one.
yeah,
That's
that's,
good one.
that's a
But-
good one. You brought up something
Yeah.
that I haven't thought about.
You
That's
got to
a
have
good
more
one.
cops in horror movies.
Yeah,
That's true.
right.
That's true.
Okay.
All right,
next.
Shawnee boy.
Now here's one that this is like kind of like older movies. You see this a lot. This always bugs me because it's so distracting. At least for me, it is. Movies where there are wax figures that are obviously real people trying to stand still. Now you see,
That's
like House of
painful.
Wax, you see
House
a
of Wax.
little bit, but there's other movies like Nightmare in Wax is one with Cameron Mitchell. It's kind of like a House of Wax kind of ripoff in a way, but that one is just like he's like doing the head of a figure and it's just on a table. It's just someone's head sticking out of a hole in the table, and she's blinking, and she's like, it's supposed to be a wax head, it's like and you just get caught in like looking. You're waiting and looking for it. That's annoying.
Or if someone's supposed to be a corpse, but you can sort of see them breathing.
You can see that's another
Drives
thing
me
that goes with it too.
crazy.
You always look for it. You know?
Yeah, or like the pulse in the throat, because you can't hide
Yeah,
that
that's
unless you
true.
have the throat covered up.
That's true. Yeah. So like House of Wax, Nightmare in Wax. There's one called Terror in the Wax Museum, which is another one where they're moving all over the place. It's terrible.
Yeah, blinking. That's to me that's egregious.
Yeah. There was like an actual
like a
blink
pulse.
and like
I might allow.
Yeah.
Even, but still, you might be able to shoot it in a way where you didn't see that, or put
Right.
some latex over that.
Or if they really couldn't cover it up, and what they do is they freeze the frame, and you can tell.
there you
That's
go.
yes.
Yeah.
Now nowadays in technology, you can make everything look like you
Yeah.
can take people and freeze them, and it can be perfect. But
I think I'd rather have the freeze frame than the blinking actor.
Yeah.
because then
Yeah.
it's not as distracting.
Yes.
yeah. So there
I
you
think
go.
because they didn't have the Jerry Lewis playback, where they the video
Yeah.
village back there,
Sure.
so they could
Yeah.
watch
Right.
it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right. So there you go.
That's a good one, Sean. The only beef I have is I don't remember a person trying to be a wax figure in House of Wax, except the moment where Charles Bronson is.
Yeah.
That's the only moment. I think that was all wax figures, but the other ones.
Was
No.
it Carolyn Jones when she's supposed to be Joan of Arc?
Yeah, that's a wax figure.
Maybe I don't know. I thought,
But
No, but there are.
no.
I think in that movie there are some though, right?
yeah, but not as not as egregious as the
there
other
are.
movies.
No,
though. I
no,
think-
no.
I'm remembering
Was
it
it
that way,
okay?
but
all right,
maybe.
So,
But
how-
I'm- what
was
I
it
was
the
gonna-
original version of that movie?
Yeah, what I think is because that's the one that it was. They spent a lot of money. They really used wax figures.
Right.
But I think the cheaper way to go for these other ones that came along.
Right.
And you're right. I do remember seeing that, Sean,
Right.
from the different wax
Right.
figure movie.
Right.
So yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just. I mean, like I said, nowadays you're not going to see that probably that kind of a goof, but that was something that you could catch back then.
Yeah, I can see that pet peeve.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. You know what my pet peeve is? What gets me is maybe it's my age. I don't know, but what
Yes,
I
it's your
hate.
age.
Okay, great. But there's a classic, and then all of a sudden, pet peeve remakes.
Oh yeah.
Well, for example, Psycho. Hey, let's make the okay. So you've got 1960 Alfred Hitchcock, great, black and white film. But then of course, hey, let's remake Psycho. We're making it in color, and we're gonna follow every shot by shot, just like Hitchcock. Why? What's the point?
Right.
Even
And that one's just a classic.
but then
fail.
Halloween, Evil Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I know that you're a big fan, man, but
I'm not a big fan of all
okay,
those
well,
movies.
what gets me is we have these classics, and sometimes I feel that people go, "Hey, this was popular, in the cult world. Let's remake it, and we'll put in DiCaprio or some new kids, and see if we can't, put a new dress on the old girl, kind of a thing."
Well, I do agree with you in the broad sense of this, which is most of these things don't need to be remade, especially if the original is so perfect.
Yeah.
Then you don't need to remake it, and that's why.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying these movies are masterpieces, but like for example, say the Rob Zombie Halloween. One thing I'll give that thing credit for is the fact that it went a different way with the style and tone of everything of the original movie. It didn't try to remake the first movie again, which I will give it that. Now, I'm not saying that it always works, and a lot of it doesn't work. But what I'm saying is at least they try something different. What I get upset about is when they try to take the same story and just kind of like make it younger with a younger cast. And like
Right.
The Fog, for example. I just watched that again.
I tried watching
and
that. I
that
couldn't even
thing
get
is
through it.
beyond
Yeah, it's
horrible.
really awful.
Oh, you brought up House of Wax. What about the House of Wax with Paris Hilton?
I never saw that.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
it looked pretty terrible.
Well,
though.
the weird thing is, it's like they did change it, a bit, but still, there's something about it that just irks
yeah,
me.
and that was just like going by off the title. Like people who saw that movie didn't know that original film.
Now, you
It's
could-
just they know the term House of Wax.
Now you could
know?
say, well, Larry, what about The Thing? Well, I guess going along what Matt said, Carpenter's Thing, it's a completely different thing. I mean,
Right.
talk about a great story and great effects, and just it seems like it's completely different
Yeah,
from the
it is.
original.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of banking on the popularity of that film. It's always funny to me how that movie or like Blade Runner, there were bombs when they came out.
Right.
I mean, or maybe not bombs, but they were box office disappointments.
The Thing was definitely a bomb.
And
Yes, it was.
Tron also. These movies that like have since become like these iconic films, like cult films, or game-changing movies in a lot of ways. But like at the time they were not, and then like these decades later they make these sequels.
But see, if you have a movie like The Thing, which was very different from the original source material, the story
Yes.
Who Goes There.
Yes.
So then years later, John Carpenter decides to do one that's a little truer to the original material. And so to me, that's not, I mean, it's a remake, but it's kind of like doing a different film because we never really did The Thing in the first place.
I would say the same thing with Cronenberg's The Fly.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you can.
And then with the follow-up Thing movie, that was a missed opportunity
kinda like a
because that
prequel.
one could have been great because
Yeah.
it was a prequel to the original Thing, and then
Right.
they just screwed the whole
Does
thing
Evil
up.
Dead, the second one, count as a remake of the first one?
In some ways, it is.
But at
It's
least the
Evil-
same
no,
filmmaker.
Are you talking about
yeah.
Evil Dead 2?
Yes.
Well, Evil Dead 2, it retold the beginning, the first movie
Yes.
in a very short amount of time.
But then
it
it
was
can-
like
yeah.
it's a
Then it went on to
reprise.
something
and the other
else.
thing is, the first film,
a comedy.
The first film was not all like shot in 35 millimeter.
Yeah,
I
he had-
mean,
he
it
had
was,
a more of a real
It was
budget,
like part
yeah.
of it was shot in 16 millimeter. Some of it was shot in 35 millimeter. It was inconsistent, so a lot of
Okay.
people didn't see it.
Right.
So I have no problem with him, retelling that story, and it's very quick.
Okay.
The way
Yeah,
he
yeah.
retells it.
So the remakes you're going of like Thing, great one.
Yeah, I think
that
so.
would be, yes.
Fly.
Are there? Do you guys?
It's more
you
like
got
the
like
f-
three
well,
Fly,
The
two
Fly,
another
yeah.
great
I
one.
actually love the Fly.
But like
Goldblum Fly.
Nightmare on Elm Street, there's no need to remake that first movie.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's perfect. It's a thing of its time. There's no way we could even make a movie look that good and, with the colors and the type of effects and
yeah.
everything and the rawness of it.
Right.
It
Well,
made
unless-
that movie work.
Unless you have a new take on it. Like when I saw that Dawn of the Dead was being remade by Zack Snyder, I'm just like, already?
That's true.
Why? I
That's
love that
true.
original
Another
movie.
good
We all do
But-
like that one, except for Larry.
But then they remake, not Zack Snyder, but someone else remakes Day of the Dead.
No,
Straight,
and that's
straight to video.
awful.
I never
then-
saw it. Was it? Yeah. Was it
No,
really a remake?
I didn't
though?
bother to.
And-
I think
yeah.
so, but then straight to video sequels of the remake.
Sure.
So there's Dawn of
Right.
the Dead 2, Dawn of the Dead 3, Day of the Dead 2.
That's
It's like,
so
well, what
weird,
the hell?
yeah.
Who
Yeah,
has
it's
time
just-
for this?
just-
And they're going to suck.
That's
Yeah.
when I miss Blockbuster the most.
Right.
Walking around.
what is
and
this?
going,
Okay.
Wow, Samuel L. Jackson's in 9 movies I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Right.
De Niro snuck in there. I do miss that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's.
totally.
I think it's an attitude thing of trying to. It's not that someone loved this original movie and they want to do their own unique take. It's more like, hey, this is an old movie now, and so we need something that the kids are going to enjoy.
Well, if they have the property and they're gonna, they have
Yeah.
the name value of it, and they just try to do something with it. Yeah.
And I understand. I understand it. And so then we're getting to that point where is that I'm too old, and it's like I would like my classic.
No,
you know,
you want them
you
to
want
love
good.
the source material as much as you do.
And I
Right.
want
Yeah.
people.
That's all you want.
I want people. Look, check out Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho from 1960. It's a great film. Oh yes, it's black and white. Oh, but check it out. It's great.
Yes. And I think most people, if you present a movie right, even if it's a really old movie, if you present it in the proper way, they'll go along with it.
Sure.
And it's not going to be that heavy of a pull to get someone to watch something like Psycho or, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, like all of Hitchcock's movies.
Sure.
Yeah.
So many of those. I mean, I would show North by Northwest. That's not really a horror movie, but I would show that to anyone right now and go, this is just a great movie.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Yeah,
Right, right.
great movie.
Holds up so well.
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
James.
That was good.
It's
Yeah.
got James Mason in it.
It's got. I told you. Was it worth the wait?
That was a little Sean Connery.
My name is James. My time.
All right, James, take us out. Come on.
Okay, this is
This
Jurassic,
is the end of the show, huh? Okay.
Jurassic Park franchise. Okay, you've got this amusement park with these dinosaurs, and it's kind of an experiment. Nothing like this has been done before. It's extremely ambitious, and the first movie proved that things can go wrong really fast, right? So then there are sequels. And I mean, you've got T-Rexes that can eat people and bite them in half, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Time and time again. This is a dangerous place. So what do? Let's bring the kids every fucking time. Look, I know that Jeff Goldblum's daughter was a stowaway in the second one, so okay,
That was
well,
terrible,
but
too.
it was still so forced. It's like, does there have to be a
yeah.
kid? And I'm not naive to the marketing. I know that kids like dinosaurs. I know that they were a big part of the reason that the first movie did so well.
Yeah.
But by the time I watch Jurassic World and I see the kids going to the amusement park, I'm like, didn't anybody learn anything here?
What was the
That
last
movie
one?
is
What's the one?
Train wreck.
What's
know-
the one where they have that they're trying to weaponize the?
I think it was
That
Jurassic.
That was
or
kind of
four,
fun. That was
or-
a kind of a cool element.
I don't think I ever saw that one.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
I thought the
but-
third one was okay because then it was like a big game hunt type thing, and then
Yeah.
I don't
That's when
remember
the
kids
place
being-
is like dilapidated
Yeah,
and
yeah. That one I could buy.
That one was okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was at least going in a more sensible direction.
Jurassic-
Now,
Right.
I see kids and I'm like completely no. This is just
They have to do
ridiculous.
something else. With
Jurassic World.
Jurassic World. You guys didn't like it. It's when they actually look.
Oh,
we got the park and we.
bullshit.
Wait,
Movie.
that's the second one.
No.
Jurassic
no.
World.
Or
The
the
new-
fourth
the-
one.
The reboot kind of
The
a thing.
second one was
yeah,
the Lost
yeah,
World.
right.
That so
With Chris Pratt.
So
Chris
so
Pratt, yeah.
I mean,
great.
that whole romantic
Yeah.
tension
Oh my
thing
God.
was just so
You didn't buy
awful.
that?
annoying. No, it was terrible.
I mean, I remember the first movie at the time that was criticized for like being too light on characterizations. My God, that looks like Shakespeare compared to.
I know you're right.
I mean, really.
And also,
it's
like, so I would think after how many times this park has gone wrong,
yeah.
that this time you'd be really, really strict with safety protocols.
Okay.
And yet
Yeah.
you've got a little dome thing that the kids,
Yes.
the kids
You know why?
can go
Because it
like,
makes a great toy. You put a figure in. That's why.
No, that makes sense. And look,
no,
you know-
no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
That a kid can just go off on his own
Well,
in the
those-
dinosaur land.
Well, those kids did something wrong that they
That's
shouldn't have done.
bullshit.
No, well, it's
That's
bullshit that they.
fucking
Larry,
no,
knowing what
no.
you know, would you let your daughter go anywhere near one of those parks?
Yeah.
Yes,
come on.
because my kids is not going to do anything stupid like those other kids. And let me tell you something.
Is there
They're not going to do anything. They'll show up.
No,
and
no,
then
no, no, no.
Is there
a
any
road
way-
van will pick up and take them
Don't
away.
talk over each other.
All
Yeah,
right.
go ahead.
All right,
go
he's
ahead.
got a rant. Let's go. Let's hear it.
Go ahead.
Let's hear it.
Go ahead, Mr.
No.
Napkin. Come on. Keep talking.
Mr. Napkin. Mr.
Kids don't have to
Napkin.
do anything wrong in the Jurassic Park movies. They just have to show up, and they're going to get fucked up by
That's it.
flying things.
Oh,
They
that's
don't do
true.
anything
Yeah.
wrong.
They're dinosaur bait.
Yeah,
That's
they're
all they
eating
are.
hot
that's
dogs
true.
at one
just-
point, and they all come in and grab them all.
You don't have
You
to do
were
any.
being a good parent. You didn't even let them on the island. You didn't even buy them a Triple E ticket.
Yeah, that's
true.
You were being a great dad.
Yeah, you go to Jurassic Park, you just wait, and something will come and kill you.
Bad will happen to you.
Now,
the minute
look-
you let them
okay.
on a plane, you're a bad
Is
All
it
dad.
right,
Put
I
it
want to
home
hear.
and
I want
watch
to.
it
I
on
want to hear
CNN.
Larry's
no.
misguided attempt at rationalization.
Look, you get one bad apple. Okay.
One bad apple.
One
Yeah.
bad bad dinosaur.
The person that restarted Jurassic Park. That's the bad apple.
No, let's just say that, look, that's like saying, hey, let's try and invent the light bulb. Oh, this doesn't work. So, let's just forget about making the light bulb and making the light. No,
Let's
you
put
keep
your
trying.
kid's face
No,
up to the faulty light bulb.
let's just say that, okay, so these safety precautions didn't work. So then the next time around, you put more safety precautions.
Next time around?
Yeah.
How many
Next
times
time
you
around.
need?
Well, look, there was a dinosaur that
Nonsense.
it had that camouflage thing, so it made it seem kind of invisible, and so everyone thought, oh, it escaped, and it actually didn't. Then when they opened the gate, then it ran out and wreaked havoc because it was a very powerful dinosaur. It all boils down to, look, they shouldn't be, making this really terrifying dinosaur with all these coolness
But
factors.
that's what they do. And then each movie, it's like, oh, the dinosaur is bigger and more dangerous and more treacherous.
Yeah, you don't need that. It's like,
No.
you don't think that the Triceratops all by itself isn't cool?
I want
Yes,
a
it's very
talking
cool.
one, like Wile E. Coyote, Super Genius.
So it's not. It's like, let's make the dinosaurs talk now. Oh,
Theodore
hi.
Rex.
Hi everybody, how are you?
That'll be the
no,
next
I don't
film.
think that. See, I think that's ridiculous. I don't think you need to do that. Although they did. No, he was a talking dragon, wasn't he?
You're actually thinking about this seriously.
I am. I am.
I respect that.
Look, you guys are all jumping on, hey, I don't like this.
Jurassic Park. I'm Minya.
First of all, Minya is not a
crossover.
Dinosaur. No,
crossover.
That's a Godzilla park, and I would not
Look,
cross those
one
streams.
company is going to end up owning everything. We know that.
No,
Yeah.
no. Disney is
It's
not
gonna happen.
No, oh, you think so? You think
Yeah.
Disney's going to go, hey, let's buy, let's, or actually it's Mickey's voice. Hey, let's go buy
Oh no!
Toho.
Back up. What was the first voice you were doing?
That was Bob Iger. That was Bob Iger. The head
That was
of
Bob
Disney.
Iger?
Yes,
That was a
yeah.
great idea.
That was a great idea. You should do a one-man show.
Well, he and I, well, that's another story.
But you have to. I mean, to me, the Jurassic Park franchise is a very up and down, wobbly franchise.
Okay, I'll agree
Just
with
like the Terminator franchise.
Just don't bring your kids
I
to any
totally
of them.
agree.
Yeah, it's just like
Sean, when you
staying
go and watch
clear.
the Jurassic World, no, hush. When you go and see the Jurassic World, though, don't you sit there? You have your popcorn and you do a little reefer and you go, "Hey, let me
definitely
flap
moments, my
let me
reefer,
watch it.
yeah, and-
let me watch it." And don't you have fun?
Is this how you talk to like a teenager? So you've got your
yeah.
disco records, and you're heading down to the Cineplex.
Yeah, there are isolated moments and scenes that are good, but like it doesn't hold up as a film. They're not memorable.
Like when these
No,
two.
the first one is, and the rest
when
are.
the two T-Rexes are like having the big super one, and then the regular one they're having the fight, and then there's the big sea creature.
Stupid.
You didn't like stupid,
Stupid,
It's not
boring
stupid,
bullshit.
Boring. You don't like watching dinosaurs fight and going and like throwing each other and like blood.
Send me that in a separate file, so I don't have to sit through this stupid fucking
Are you one
Pratt
of the,
performance.
Are you? You see,
I'm
I
getting
think
tired of him and that.
guys, no, Chris Pratt is fine. He's no.
He's no what's his face in the first movie.
What?
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill.
Sam
Come
Neill.
on.
Hey.
Sam Neill's great.
Sam Neill is great. Yeah.
And he really grounded that movie actually.
Yeah, okay,
really well.
but
He should have played the Antichrist in one of those movies.
See,
Antichrist
but see,
versus
Sean,
dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Chris
crossover.
Pratt had this thing where he's like training the little velociraptors. He's got this-
Dinosaur Whisperer.
Yes, yes. Why do you
That's
find that so hard to believe?
Because
Because he didn't do the
Because this
noise like Caesar Milan. That would have
Guys,
been better.
No, he was with them when they were born. He kind of, these creatures kind of grew up with him being there and handling them and
I know,
and
it's just not that
getting them to
interesting
look
to
at his
me.
hand and train. Come on,
No, thank you.
don't you remember the
thanks.
crocodile hunter with the alligators?
Yeah, I do. That was good.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that. Let's do that. Let's make that.
feeding
what
them-
happened to him?
But that's
Thank you.
okay.
Well,
Okay.
too soon.
Okay.
Too soon, John.
Okay.
All right.
First of all, I love the crocodile hunter, and
Me too.
And
I know, me
that death happened in the ocean with
true.
a stingray, my friend.
I know, not a prehistoric monster.
That's correct.
Yeah. All right. So I'm
All
glad
right.
that we've
All
worked that
right.
out.
Thank God.
So is your pet peeve just what? Dinosaurs? What?
Children.
You don't like dinosaurs in movies?
Children. He hates children.
Do you not like kids?
No, they're horrible.
I don't want them in my movies, really.
Yeah,
I don't.
I don't want him around
You know what?
me.
Kids don't go to movies to go see themselves be kids. When we were kids, we liked the
Thank
Bad
you.
News Bears. We
Yeah.
like kids that were assholes.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
the Goonies.
Let loose.
Are
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, the Goonies,
You don't
no.
want to see boring
But, yeah.
kids.
Well, what about E.T.? Didn't you like E.T.?
different.
Yeah, no, but I can see that. Yeah, and yeah, living through a kid on the
kid
on the
gets
screen.
the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, an
sure.
alien.
But that's not the same as Jurassic Park. These are just kids running.
Right, right.
Wouldn't you
They're
like to go
disposable
to that
characters.
dinosaur park and see
Well,
dinosaurs?
sure, that'd be
No,
awesome.
not after the first murder.
Oh, yeah.
Of the dinosaurs killing everybody. If your
Right.
parents took you, you'd go, you getting rid of me?
Are you saying to me if there was the new park at Disneyland?
It's finally safe.
With real dinosaurs.
Yeah, with
You will
real
not get murdered.
You would not go. You would not go.
No. Not till I'll let you guys go the first
Yeah, you
year.
have to wait.
Yes.
See how it
See the
shakes out.
reviews. Wait till the reviews.
That'll
Yeah.
be better the next year.
It's like
Yeah.
Disneyland. You wait for the lines to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Screw
wait for the
things
bodies to stop piling up.
Right.
Then you go.
The LA Zoo did a chimp exhibit, and the first day that they did it, they opened it up and they did a soft launch.
Yeah.
The problem was they didn't do the gates high enough, so all the chimps escaped pretty much from the minute they let them out. So chimps were running around the zoo.
Oh my
I did
God.
Those
not
are
know.
chimps. So imagine what people would do, regular people would do, if dinosaurs were involved.
Well,
Yeah.
like what dinosaur?
It's like flash paper and weird wax paper everywhere to keep the dinosaurs in.
Wow.
I don't believe people would do it. I think the way
I just the permits and insurance alone.
Yeah,
no
sure.
way this thing would have. First of all, maybe the first time it opened, the first Jurassic Park.
Right.
You know, they might have gotten all the paperwork done, but after all that,
No way.
no way.
it over open up.
Close
Look,
it down. Close
I don't
it
know
down.
how many dinosaurs have like thumbs. You know, like chimps do. Okay, like if a stegosaurus
wait,
is out
whoa,
there,
that's the
I would see a
factor here?
stegosaurus climbing over a fence.
But would
you
you
know,
just smash it?
Yeah,
Right.
T-Rex.
I didn't say T-Rex. I said stegosaurus.
Nobody wants to come see the Stegosaurus.
I'm not going to go to a dinosaur place with just one stegosaurus.
Thank you.
Well, they'd have more than
Like
one.
going to a
What kind of
squirrel
shitty
museum.
Jurassic Park are you opening with one sad Stegosaurus?
He's not sad. They feed him grass and cabbage and
Yeah.
But he talks and he sounds like James Mason.
Yeah, he's 108.
Hello.
I'm James Mason.
All right. This is
All right.
great. Okay.
Who's next?
Matt,
that's
what's
my
your
pet
pet peeve?
Matt.
Okay, so we're going to get into some dicey territory here.
Uh-oh.
But now, this is a kind of more of a recent pet peeve. Because when it comes to older films, I was not as bothered by this. But in horror movies, let's say, for example, anything with demonic possession or vampires, you'd always have the church or a crucifix or something, a religious symbol that you would use to fight the vampires. And you bought into that because everything is a mythology in this world. The vampires, the church, everything else. You're
Right.
going along with the rules. But in movies now, say something like The Conjuring, for example, and that's one pet peeve just in and of itself. Let's shut down the Conjuring universe entirely.
Shared universes in general, like they're going too much with that. You know, the shared, like
Yeah.
all the films are connected.
Yeah,
like,
no.
why do we have to do that with horror films? Like, it's,
No,
you know, it's
no,
like not-
no. And especially, like, I don't put any money into the Warren estate, please. But when they always portray that it's like, hey, the Catholic Church is coming and they're the heroes. Like, we called the Pope and he's said it's okay to do an exorcism. Now, in this day and age, if the Catholic Church and I'm not talking about individual Catholics or individual priests, I'm talking about as an organization, can't stop pedophile priests, how are they going to defeat satanic forces or demons? If you can't flush the fucking boy fucking out of a priest, how are you going to flush a demon out? And so I get annoyed when
4,000-year-old demon.
right, yeah. Like, no, he knows what's going on. So I just get really annoyed when you have the Catholic Church is still like this thing. Like, has anyone read a newspaper? And the fact that the Catholic Church is supposedly like this authority on demons or anything like that. Let's look at the track record of the Catholic Church about things in general. Like, I don't know, physics, the universe.
History,
They're kind of
human
wrong
history.
about everything.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
right.
know, look, they've evolved over time.
Very, very slowly.
things.
This is about like 10 years ago. They apologized to Galileo or something like that. I forget exactly what it was.
Things take time. Okay, it's yeah.
Okay.
Very well defended, Larry.
I'm just saying, when you have some big organization, sometimes it just takes a little while, for them to.
I'm not, and again, I know that there are good priests out there who are in it for the right reasons, who want to just be good people and whatever, want to do charity or whatever.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
But if you look at that organization and all this stuff every year there's something new where they found a whole new group of priests that have done this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And if that is the example of this organization, let me just say this. Maybe it's not the right time to portray them as these
older
moral
movies.
authorities.
Okay,
Right.
let me just say this, sir. I think maybe it's interesting that you have this organization which has its issues. It's flawed. It's made mistakes. And here you have someone who's supposed to be an expert in trying to get rid of demons. In a way, it's kind of cool that they're not perfect. They are, after all, human beings.
I'd like to see that movie.
Just because
that's
it's
the movie
priest.
I'd like to see.
Well, that's The Exorcist.
Right.
I mean, it's what's great is you actually have Father Damien Karras actually has an issue with his faith.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking, and I know. I'm not talking about. I'm saying a recent phenomenon, and especially like the deference it's given in like a lot of these Conjuring films.
Right.
I'm sorry, I just don't buy it. I think it's bad timing. It's like it's almost bad taste.
I kind of like what John Carpenter did with the movie Vampires, whereas the Vatican payrolled these group of like vampire hunters to do their dirty work. Kind of that was kind of an interesting take on it, where like they kind of knew they were doing it, but they had to do all the shit work. James Woods and his group, it was like a secret kind of organization, but they were funded by the Vatican.
Any idea like that, where if you're portraying the church like any human organization, as I'm sure there's a bunch of good people within this organization that just want to do good, but they're fighting the corruption and bureaucracy and whatever else that's happening within the church as a whole, and that's part of the story. That's better because then you're making them real people. You're giving it some depth as opposed to just doing a blanket kind of like these are the good guys.
Right.
And we know that's not entirely
Well,
the
can't you
case.
say that about every group or every like it's like, hey, we're gonna have like a cowboy film.
It's not every group. It's not every group because not every group is portraying themselves as this arbiter of morality or what's right and what's good, and
like the Boy Scouts.
Don't go there. Were you a Boy Scout?
I was a wee below. Were you?
No, my brother.
Well,
was.
I will say this before.
I was a Cub Scout.
Were you a Cub Scout?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I did Cub Scout.
I got a
and
couple badges or whatever.
And look, I was an altar boy.
And almost got raped.
I was
seriously.
Wow.
Did you?
Wow.
Yeah. Not as a Cub Scout, but I was trying to join this scout troop, and I'm taken by this guy who was the scout master with a bunch of guys, and we go on this camping trip.
What?
And this guy, he had his eye on me.
No.
And he kept telling me the first night that we're going to go to bed in this wooded area, he's got this little cabin off to the side. Oh. And he's telling me this stuff. He's going like, a lot of kids come out here and they get hypothermia and they die in the middle of the night. And I'd hate to see that happen to you. I'm going to move your sleeping bag into my cabin.
Wait. Were you aware, though, at the time of what was happening? Like, I mean, were you...
spider sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't entirely aware, but I
Right.
I felt in my
Something.
bones,
Yeah.
this is not right. And also just from a fun standpoint, I'd rather be out hanging with the guys
Right.
than in this guy's creepy cabin.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
he moves my sleeping bag
Because
into
you
his
guys
cabin.
were all going to jerk off together, right?
Well,
So you didn't want to miss
it's a circle
that.
jerk. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to jerk off each other.
Yeah.
We're not
Wow.
we're not freaks. But so I had to take my sleeping bag out of the cabin and bring it
Wow.
back out with the guys. And I end up, going to sleep and everything's fine. And then next morning, I'm telling some joke, some like really innocent kind of dirty joke to my friends that I had told before with this entire group of people. Now, mind you, this guy was like the cool scoutmaster who would like get us beer and things like that.
wow.
And I'm telling this joke and he goes, "Oh, don't tell that joke. It's just not funny." And I'm going, but the guys like it. So I start telling the joke. This guy kicks me in the chest while I'm drinking hot chocolate. Hot chocolate goes all over me. And that's when I know, that I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was like 2 more days.
Okay.
And, yeah.
So
Nothing ever happened.
That's a sweet story, though.
You had a bad experience.
It's a happy holidays, everybody.
The Cub Master,
Happy post-holidays.
the Cub Master that I had, he was actually terrific. And just to let you know, I was an altar boy for years, and I worked for some grumpy priests, guys who were angry and stuff, and other priests who were really, really cool. I never had any kind of incident.
And that's what I'm saying.
You know.
And I understand that any organization that gets big and unchecked, and that's really the problem with this, is that they're self-policing, and they don't want to have any kind of scandal, so they just
Are there
move
any
these
rabbis
people.
that kill demons?
Yes.
Are there?
Yeah, I'm
What
sure
was that
there-
movie? There was a movie that was.
There was.
What was that?
Dubuque or
It was not Dubuque.
DYBBYK or something?
No, this
I
was.
know, I know what you're
was
talking
it
about.
called
There's something-
Possession or something like that? It was.
sure.
But it was a.
I'd love to
Jewish
see that
demon
movie.
or something.
Yeah. No,
Right?
I know. Yeah.
Isn't
You know
there
what I'm
one with
talking
like
about. Sounds familiar, yeah.
There was a golem-y kind of one too.
That was great. The Golem.
Yeah,
or
that's
Golem.
on my
I think it's
list,
called
just
Golem.
Golem, yeah.
Golem is
I know, I
great.
gotta see that one, yeah.
That is a really good movie.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well,
so
thank you for sharing, Matt.
Wow.
No, I mean it. Thank you for sharing.
Okay. All right. Again, I'm not trying to, hurt
Point-
anyone's
yeah.
feelings
Listen,
here.
I'd like to see other religions fighting demons. So I don't
Yes.
see
Right,
enough
right.
Bollywood movies.
that's
I'm
fair.
sure
Yeah.
they're
See
well,
some-
like when you see the Japanese
Buddhists.
the
The Buddhist
you
monks.
see the vampires.
Yeah, oh yeah. Hopping
stuff,
vampires.
Oh, the
right.
Chinese ones.
Yeah,
Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam
fantastic.
Myoho Renge Kyo.
So yeah, but I'd really like to see the Reformed and Orthodox Jews get into the demon hunting business.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Don't let the Catholics do it.
And then there's a Turkish exorcist.
Yeah.
That's true.
Ooh,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Hare
Right.
Krishna, vampire hunter.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I want to see that.
Yeah.
I can get a meeting.
All right, next up.
All right, what do you got?
I don't enjoy the trope of scary, ghosty monster children. That always
You don't like
bothers me. No, because I always feel like,
Really?
why doesn't some adult just kick them in the chest? They're children.
Wait,
you can
like-
overpower
So
them.
now, what are we talking about
Supernatural?
specifically? We're talking about like the Grudge.
Supernatural, anything with a child in it.
But if it's a
Unless
ghost,
they have ghosts you can't really touch
right.
as much, but more monstery.
Pet
kind
Cemetery, the little
Of,
kid.
yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I would want
That's
to
a good point.
overpower them quickly,
But it was his little boy, so he probably didn't want to.
unless you're related to them.
Right. Well,
Then I
it's
understand.
What was so?
Mm-hmm.
Gabe is his name.
Gage.
Gage. I'm sorry. So Gage is the kid,
Yeah.
and so what I wanted to know is what was Gage's end game? Like once he got out of there, where was he going to go? Like what was he going to do?
He just
But I
wanted
think
to kill.
he's just an infected kind of.
So he was
evil-
just going to
he's-
just go on a killing
just-
rampage
yeah.
until
Rabbit.
Yeah. I
until
think-
they stopped him.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
It wasn't
Yeah.
like because he's
Mischievous.
okay.
There was
but
no goal.
he wasn't going to then just like blend in with a nursery school
Yeah.
and just
So I think,
pick them off one by one.
considering that, and yes, that kid is very young in that film, but I think they did a pretty good job in the movie of making that work. I mean, it's tricky, but I mean, you're right. If you just get a good moment, you can just kick the kid. But like, somehow
did like
kind
that.
of make it work. No, but what about like a classic film like Village of the Damned? Where
Yeah,
they're,
how about
like,
that? What do you-
those kids possessed by aliens, or they're hybrid aliens, and they have omniscient powers.
Yeah.
They can read
They're
your mind.
telekinesis
That's scary. Or
and-
like the kid.
There's
Billy
not
Mo-
like you can do
Very
like even a kid in the
unemotional.
Twilight Zone.
Yeah, Billy Mooney in Twilight
So
Zone.
how about that kid?
Yeah.
Do you like that kid?
That's
or-
Well, no, I'd like
He's
to
not a
hit
monster.
him.
He's not a monster. No.
But
Would
you're
you
not
want to
annoyed by
snap his
that.
neck when he wasn't looking?
Well, that's the whole point. They try to
He
do
can-
that.
Yeah,
I know, but you can't, 'cause he can hear your
he knows what you're
thoughts and-
thinking. Yeah,
Just
that's
like Damien.
scary.
You know, you
Yeah, or
go
Damien,
next
right.
to Damien, you'll get a glass plate in your neck.
So you're not
Right.
saying all evil kids. You're saying a certain type of evil kid.
Sometimes I'll see movies with evil kids in them. Go, why don't they just pound them?
Well, at the end of again, Exorcist, he
They
beats
go
the
to
shit
work
out of
on
her.
him.
and-
Yeah.
That's
I like
true.
to see
yeah.
that more often,
And
as
yet,
opposed to running from them. all
her
the
vagina's
time.
fine at the end.
Yeah, it's true.
Next
All
up.
right. Okay, this kind of, as a kid especially, this kind of bothered me because, I always loved monsters, love like, creepy effects and hideous looking monsters. But anytime there was like a character in a movie that is presented as this horribly disfigured character and you see the makeup as, it's not that bad. like for instance, I mean, but you look at like the classic silent version of the Phantom of the Opera. one of the most, still so effective, one of the most ghastly, horrific-looking faces that Chaney created for Eric the Phantom. And none of the later films came close.
That's a really good point.
Especially, and it's not that it's a bad film, but the Claude Rains version of Family Opera, he's got a little bit of bad acne on his face. And especially because these are movies that are
Clearasil could take care of some of that.
They're building up with the reveal of it. Through the whole movie, you have the mask on you when you see the mask.
If that mask was some sort of moisturizing mask.
Yeah, even like the Herbert Lom one was a little better, but even that, they just don't hold a candle to Chaney's version.
No.
And also there's other movies where like there's a character who is like, hidden in an attic or a basement or has a mask, and they're told that they just look so hideous. One example is this film, a Vincent Price film called The Oblong Box.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a bad movie,
okay.
but Vincent Price was a character who, like, his brother, through sorcery, his brother was like horribly disfigured, and through the movie he's wearing this like crimson cloak, and the actor is pretty good in his voice, and like you expect, it's gonna look so horrible, and then look at it's not that bad. It's just not that bad. The Shuttered Room with Gig Young and Carol Lindley. Carol Lindley has, I think it's like a sister or a relative who's in the attic, and you always see from her point of view, and she's like scratches people, and she's like this feral creature living up there. And then you see her, and she's just like she hasn't washed her hair, and she just has long fingernails. Like that's literally it.
It was
like
a different time.
Yeah, you want horrible, ghastly, looking people. It's built up, and it's such a letdown.
Well, it's a little like the misfire in House of Dracula, where they pass off the nurse who happens to have a hunchback
as a monster,
and she's not a monster at all.
Not only
she's
is she a monster, she's pretty hot.
Yeah, who just
Yeah.
happens to have an affliction.
She has a
Scoliosis.
First of all,
who
has a problem tapping a hunchback?
a hot hunchback.
Movement's
sure.
fantastic. Rolling back right in. It's like a turtle on its back. It's fantastic.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
So anyway, that's my pet peeve. I want more.
You just made that 3 times hotter.
Sean, it's so
don't you
funny.
think? Yeah.
No, Sean, I totally agree with you.
I just real quick, another one, on a movie called Beast in the Cellar. The movie is called Beast in the Cellar, and again, it turns out to be just a guy who hasn't taken a shower in a long time, and he's got like some hair on him. Like, come on.
And he has a shave. It's so funny you should say it, because actually the Claude Rains version is actually my favorite version.
It's a very well mounted.
It's so beautiful.
Production.
I mean, this has the famous beautiful chandelier, and it's such a great scene. But you're.
No, but it's not. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie.
I'm
not saying it's a bad movie.
It's funny because I too felt the exact same thing, and that's my favorite mask. I love his mask.
Spencer Tracy version of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Well, that's just
it's like
nonsense.
I'm sorry, that's Spencer Tracy. Still.
Yeah, it still looks like
he's like grinning kind of madly, and he's like squinting his eye.
Wow,
like
Spencer Tracy's had some drinks.
And nobody knows it's Dr.
What a
Jekyll.
shock!
Whoa, who are you? You're obviously not Dr. Jekyll. You look so different. Whereas the Frederick March version is fantastic.
No, that one is.
I mean, it's fantastic, and the makeup is great, and it looks completely different.
Sean, what is that movie that you turned me on to? It. I can't remember the name, but it's in Solvang, and it's with Barbara Bach, and Stephen Furst is the monster in the cellar.
This is an '80s film called The Unseen.
The Unseen.
Yeah.
Now
That's a good movie.
I actually enjoy the movie, but it took me a little bit to get on board with this creature that's half seen through like vents in the house.
That one's a little. Well, that one
and
I
then you
kinda go
finally
with,
see
though.
it, and it's Stephen Furst. It's Flounder.
Yeah. But he's like kind of mentally handicapped.
Yeah.
He's like a kind of a man child.
Now, what makes the movie work is Stephen Furst.
He gives a fantastic
He is
performance.
great.
He's actually pretty terrifying.
He's brilliant, and he's what brings the terror of
That's
that
an
situation
exception.
to life.
Right.
But when you first see him, you're like, oh, it's Flounder.
This is going to be great.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Well, half these movies, do you think it was just a lot of promises made by the makeup department? Where the first 8 days they're looking at it. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. And then the last day of the shoot, that's where they shoot it all. And everybody's just bummed out.
Or some of those terrible movies that we've discussed where it's like nobody saw any of the special effects during the shooting, and then they go to the premiere and they're like, "Oh fuck, I'm in this movie."
It's just I was still kind of amazed though that like a movie like Phantom of the Opera, for all the remakes, all the versions, nobody has made a more terrifying Phantom than that original. You know, I mean, really, nobody's.
And really works for black and white too, which is,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
as we know, they weren't really black and white; they were tinted. But,
Right. But yeah.
it works very well for that medium.
Yeah, if you're gonna tear off the mask of the Phantom at the end, it's gotta really terrify.
This I will say this to you though, and this is kind of interesting. Do you remember how there was this great musical Andrew Lloyd Webber did, Phantom of the Opera? Great musical on stage because it's a stage play. The Phantom's makeup is actually pretty hideous because they had to make it bigger
has to stand
for the
out,
stage.
right, bigger
for the
than
stage.
life, right.
So if you ever see pictures of the stage performance, like his lip is really big. He has like this.
It's more misshapen.
Yeah,
like,
and his indentation kind of. He's got losing some of the hair.
That's true.
And
As far
it's got
as the
this
stage play,
and it's
that's a little
really
better.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
But when they did the feature film, what
I never
bugged
saw
me-
the feature film.
I did because I love the musical. But Sean, it's so funny because they kind of scaled it way back
Really?
too.
Why?
And I thought to myself, on the stage play, it's so great.
That's
And
weird.
why did
Because
you
they're
not-
afraid. They think that it's going to turn off.
Well, it's just not romantic.
I'm not.
enough.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they had to make it. Well, it's like it's a movie. It's going to seem to make it realistic. We have to make tone it down. No, don't tone it down.
Yeah.
Now, you're not using like stage makeup.
Right.
But I'm with you, Sean. They should have gone totally hideous because that's what makes it so powerful.
Yeah, and he's gone. This guy has gone. He's gone mad from all this, and he's.
The funny thing about Phantom of the Opera, for listeners, if you look at all these different versions, the endings for these are all kind of different.
Yeah.
The Phantom, the Phantom is either a good guy or a bad guy. It's not
little in
consistent.
between.
A little
Right,
between.
yeah.
And what's interesting in the musical, you have this moment where the Phantom is actually going to kill the love interest for Christine. And what she chooses to do, unlike any other film, she chooses to kiss him. And what would have made it so more horrifying is if he is so hideous, like on the stage performance.
Come on, he should look like Dr. Fibes.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Well, maybe
I was
not
just thinking
maybe
that
not.
is
Sean,
a really
Sean,
successful
maybe
makeup.
not quite so Dr. Maybe partial, but I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Or like, remember Dark Man? Remember Dark Man?
Man's good.
With Liam Neeson?
Yeah, that was good.
Because
that was good makeup.
That's a good makeup.
That was very good. makeup.
Phantom of the Paradise.
That's
absolutely.
another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's kind of limited, but it's also really effective for the part.
Yeah.
Because also having the pale face
Right.
accentuates all his wounds.
yeah, it
And
just
having
stands
to
out.
put in metal dentures.
Yeah,
Yes.
it
Yeah.
just
Black
adds
lips.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I want to say. For any listener out there, if there's anyone that's going to remake Phantom of the Opera, it seems to happen every 10 years, just
Go
go
all
the extra
out.
mile.
Yeah.
Just go the extra
Yeah.
mile. Make Eric the Phantom look a little more
make
hideous.
grotesque.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good one, Sean. Good
Yeah.
one.
All right, thank you.
All right, Larry?
All right. This one, maybe not as powerful as Sean's, but this is not a contest.
True.
Is it?
Did you have to do that?
It's always a contest.
It's the new year. I'm trying to work on things.
Everything is
Thank
going to
you.
be better in the 2020s.
Yeah.
Trump has been impeached in the Senate.
All right. Go, Larry. Go.
Okay, so it's a little pet peeve. I'm looking at Sean like I'm trying to get it. You know what gets me? Why does the killer or the villain always need to be silent? It started with like Michael Myers in Halloween,
Right.
Jason and Friday the 13th. Okay, no one's talking. Okay. Now it's like the nun. The nun is all quiet. It's like
Conjuring.
Conjuring. It's like, guys, it's okay to talk. If the villain or the
It depends, though, because a good example.
No, Sean, I'm tired. It's a pet peeve now. It's because we have so many Halloween movies. We have so many Friday the 13th. Now it's like, okay, he's not talking. That's the character, whatever. Come on, I want the characters to talk.
So what you're
Taunt
saying?
me.
What you're saying is that that's been done.
Yes.
And we've seen it.
Yes.
And so let's do something different.
Yes.
But the opposite end of that is like you go too far with like the Freddy Krueger sequels, and there's like wisecracking.
That's true.
Rodney
That's
Dangerfield.
good
But
point.
see, but Sean, that's different. That's when you start from the first one and go to the latest one. I mean,
Sure.
to do the jokes.
I mean,
I'm
but I
not
think
saying that.
it works
Look,
with Michael Myers.
Dude, the nun could have been so much better if you had the nun talk and taunt.
I haven't seen it.
Well,
so,
I'm just saying, when you okay, so she just looks scary and kind of opens her mouth. Say something.
That's all
you
those
could,
movies.
She could recite prayers in her creepy. That could be freaking creepy. But no, let's have an art talk.
But even like of course, Michael Myers in Halloween, it works really well. I think when he turns. In Westworld, Yul Brynner, it works well. He doesn't speak. Janos Skorzeny in the original Night Stalker TV movie was really groundbreaking at the time, I think, because you had this visceral vampire character who never uttered a word but was terrifying. So it depends on how it's done.
Christopher Lee in most of the Hammer films.
The better ones. He started talking more and then he got...
but I mean, there was a period where he almost said nothing. He'd have like 3 or 4 lines during the whole movie, and the rest was just the blazing eyes.
But he was pissed at that. He wanted freaking dialogue.
But I also think he was kind of getting tired of them. He didn't care. Like he would just come for a couple of days.
The first. No, that's ridiculous. As much as I enjoy that movie, that's nonsense. Yeah.
Look, on
which number am I on? The second.
The second. No, I'm just saying. Look,
it depends on what it is. Yeah.
I guess I have a good taunting one.
Can I throw something into what you're saying?
Throw,
because I think it relates,
we're friends
and we're friends. But I would also throw mass into that as well. Because the silent masked character, and that which mask are we going to get this time? Is it going to be the hockey mask? Oh, it's baseball. Is there a baseball mask? A catcher's mask. No, there was no movie. Well, but there's like a Halloween mask, or it's always a different mask. Or,
like the Purge. They have all these movies. Now, there's so many movies now that creepy masks have kind of come back, and I
like it.
Now.
But even with the Purge, and that's my guilty pleasure.
Right.
I've watched the Purge TV series.
Is the series good?
But it's a guilty pleasure.
Right.
But at least it makes sense why those characters are wearing masks because you're trying to hide your identity.
Right.
But even that, after a while, the visceral impact of it is lessened. I don't find it as creepy anymore.
Right.
Well, I think it's just kind of the easy way out for horror movie makers, because if someone doesn't talk or if they're behind a mask, then they can creep up on you, and that's what everybody's afraid of. If they can talk, well, you see them coming.
It depends on the mask too, because you can have. I mean, it can be really effective if it's a really creepy mask. Sometimes the cruder the mask, the simpler the mask, the more creepy it is.
Well, that's why I love Leatherface from the very beginning.
Yeah,
because
it's just
what creepier mask could there be?
Yeah.
And both incarnations, both of the separate masks that he wears.
Yes, that's true. Right.
And I would even say the female one is the creepiest.
Yes, yeah. I think
and he's wearing the tux, and it's just well. And you're talking about having these characters speak.
Yeah.
Whenever you get into like the backwoods psycho thing, that's when the speaking really does work, because all the dialogue in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even Leatherface, who doesn't speak, but he does that weird language he's speaking, and then you've got all the crazy, just unhinged stuff that everybody else is saying.
But like weird kind of family bickering, amidst all the horror. That's why it's great. Yeah,
and that's the way to do it too. And in Hills Have Eyes, I think it's a similar thing. All the stuff that they say to each other and to their victims is just horrifying.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, that's cool. But
Good.
I can see that one. Yep.
All right,
James.
I've got a pretty strong personal pet peeve.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
A personal pet peeve.
In 1980, I discovered an author whose books I loved, and his name was Stephen King. And The Stand was the first one I read, loved it. I loved The Shining, Salem's Lot. I thought it was incredible. I reread these books. Short story collections like Night Shift, Skeleton Crew, amazing. Carrie, certainly. And I would go to the bookstores. I think it was Walden Books at the time, the day that one of his books came out, and I would buy them in hardcover. And I never did that before in my life. Then finally, a few years later, 1986 it was, his magnum opus was coming out. It was It. And this book was like 1,300 pages long.
I think I know where this is going.
About halfway through, I just lost interest and I put it down. And I know now that the movies have been so popular and Pennywise is all over the place.
Great.
But
Great.
there was a problem for me in that it didn't adhere to any real rules. It was a universe where absolutely anything could happen. And at the time, King was famous for remarking that he wanted to pull out all the stops and make it, it's going to be a giant spider and the mummy's going to show up and Dracula's going to show up and evil clown's going to show up. There's scenes
That's
where...
how I felt about the movie.
Well, that's exactly...
I've not seen the sequel yet.
Can I ask you something?
You haven't seen number 2?
No, we'll see it
Sean,
eventually.
where was it in relation to Nightmare on Elm Street? Because I don't know which came first.
Nightmare on Elm Street was 84.
Yes.
It was 86, but he was probably already working on it before Nightmare on Elm Street came out.
But it is kind of interesting because they are similar in a lot of ways.
Sure. Nightmare on Elm Street, it plays by its own unique rules and is a lot more successful by those rules. It is just all over the place. And what they don't bring out in the movies is that Stephen King was doing a shitload of cocaine at the time.
You gotta add coke to it.
Yeah.
You
Right.
have to add coke.
And
to
so
it.
you have
And that can go either way.
this
Right.
alternate universe with a giant space turtle, and that's not really brought up in the movie.
Wait.
Wait, what's the
Say that
space
again?
turtle?
Gamera is in it.
Camera's in it?
Not Gamera, but it's this mythology that he either created and a lot of stuff that he stuck to, like the whole Dark Tower alternate universe stuff. Again, it's the drugs.
Right,
and then
right.
after that, now he did come out with a couple of great novels like Misery and the Green Mile.
Misery's great.
The Green Mile is fantastic. But meanwhile, you have Drek. Absolute Drek comes out like the Tommyknockers. You got Needful Things, The Dark Half, Desperation, The Regulators from a Buick 8, Dreamcatcher, Black House, Revival. Now,
He did a lot of cocaine.
Yeah, that's a big
No,
Van Halen mirror
okay.
right next
No,
to his desk
now,
with a
okay,
pound.
guys.
these are
Like that
just
scene in Heavy Metal.
And remember, he got hurt really bad too.
Yeah,
yeah,
got
yeah,
hit by
yeah,
a car.
Hit
right?
by a car.
these,
Yes.
these are just the ones I
Just
read.
knock the cocaine right out of his
Yeah,
system.
and I coke
Whoa!
and then that becomes pain pills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Look,
yeah.
look,
Now-
look, guys!
Yeah.
You're saying that he was doing cocaine for a long time. Look, this might have been just
No,
a
I don't
short
think he
period
was
of time.
doing-
And
He talks about
look,
it quite a bit.
And look, guys,
years
we,
that he doesn't
we
remember.
can't be brilliant all the time.
No.
Okay?
I know that
And there
there
are expectations too from publishers. And,
Right. But at some point, he got so successful that he decided he didn't need an editor, or his editor didn't know to tell him
You
to
think
edit
he
himself.
could direct a movie?
Well,
Which went terribly.
Yeah. Although I like Maximum Overdrive more than a lot of his later
Yeah,
novels.
that's true. Yeah, right. it is kind of fun in a really
And the
stupid
thing is,
way.
I appreciate him very, very much as a voice
Sure.
and as a presence, and I love seeing him on talk shows. I love his tweets. Unfortunately, I really, really want to love his output, and I can't. And I know that a lot of readers would probably disagree with me, and many of them probably will agree with me. The thing of it is that I'm more disappointed and a little bit angered than anything else, because it could have been decades really of enjoying this author's work, and it's just like nothing compares to the early novels for me.
Right.
But it sounds like, okay, you loved his early stuff, didn't like this middle stuff, but then you mentioned some others that are great. I mean, did that come after? Like you mentioned The Green Mile, Misery.
But the Green Mile and Misery were more exceptions. So he still has
Right.
potential greatness in him, and it's almost like Lucy in the football. It's like, I'll pick it up. Ooh, maybe it'll be good. It's not.
Hey,
it's not.
Sometimes people only write one great book.
Yeah.
And that's like, oh my God, they at least wrote this. And King has done a lot of great work. Granted, you've mentioned something may not be the greatest, but I don't think you should lose like your admiration for the
it's
guy.
just his pet peeve. He's
It's
Oh.
a pet peeve. It comes
he's
from a
venting
personal
his-
place where
Yeah.
I was really excited by this voice, and it just let me down. And there you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
So
see- I can
right now,
understand
do you
that.
feel let down?
I feel like every time he comes out with a new novel, there's this kid inside me that wants to go buy it. And I'm like, ooh, maybe it'll be fun. And it's like, no, it's not going to be fun. But maybe it's good.
But
I
you
don't-
did give him credit with how he tweets. He's become a great adult.
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoy his opinions
Yes.
on world affairs,
Me
current
too.
administration and stuff. He's able to cut through it from being a guy who's been very poor, very wealthy,
Went through it all.
very successful,
Right.
had physical challenges. So those are the kind of adults that I want to hear from.
Yeah.
Right.
But I agree with you. Then when he gets to doing what I love, I agree with you too. I go, ah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes with King books, we always it's always a reference we always make when you can't figure out a way to end a script. A lot of King books just end of like going,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like walking around having a couple beers. Send it over.
I think the last one I read was Cell. And Cell
that?
is like, I mean, the concept is kind of interesting because it's a pulse through a cell phone that makes everybody zombie-esque. They, travel in these weird herds, and you're trying to figure out. There's a big mystery behind what is actually happening to these people. But when you get there,
There's nothing.
It's
It's
really
completely
unsatisfying, and it almost feels like if there was a literary version of a Stephen King cover band.
Yeah.
Like that's what those novels feel like.
It's hard with that kind of success too,
Sure.
of being around regular people and having people calling you on your bullshit, and then, like you're saying, get rid of an editor or surrounding yourself with smart, good people. Sometimes,
Always
and then
good.
you need to do that
Yeah.
as an adult. A guy like
George
they're
Lucas?
a little different. Yeah, George Lucas. Even a guy like Albert Brooks. Fantastic out the gates, but as he got older, not a lot of artists are able to create and keep being better and redefining themselves.
Right.
There aren't a lot of people that do it. It seems like more in music than filmmakers.
Yeah. I mean, when I think, about,
Hitchcock had one hell of a run,
Yes. Yeah.
but you find out with his wife and the people he knew how to surround himself
Right.
with a lot of smart people who did not take any credit that probably deserved a
Right,
lot
right.
of credit.
Stefano.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, for the constant reader of Stephen King, I think that they're on this sort of journey where they're taking in all of his thoughts and his voice and his messages. And I think that there's a lot of value in what he does have to contribute.
Yeah.
I just don't really have the patience anymore. And in a way, I wish I did, but I'm a slow reader. So I can't
Yeah.
go through a 2,000-page book that, yeah. So
All right.
there you go.
There you go.
Okay, well, I'm going to hit something that I'm sure we've all noticed. I'm sure we all don't like it. I understand why it's done, but
Is
they
this
shouldn't do it.
racism?
I'm really down on the racism. You know what? Their message is just off.
Don't care for it.
Yeah. What I'm talking about is CGI gore/blood.
That is on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Man.
that is one that I get it, I think. I mean, I understand that maybe, to make sure that you get those practical blood effects right might take a couple takes, and that's time. Time is money. I know CGI is also money, but the minute I see that, I'm out.
Never looks real.
Never.
They do it on Walking Dead.
Walking Dead all the time.
You know
And
what?
it's now it's not. I'm not
Well, yeah, I mean,
connected. I'm
right.
not scared.
You know
I'm
what's-
not repulsed.
You know what's
nothing.
weird, Matt, is sometimes I think when they do it, it doesn't seem like it's real looking blood. It's almost like it's darker, almost like black and white. And I'm wondering if the idea is, well, we're giving you this effect, but we're not making it as graphic because it's not the color of blood or exactly. I'm wondering if there's like a level of where they're trying to make it
a little more palatable
No,
for
yeah,
a wider
it's like-
audience.
It's like it is graphic, but it's not really graphic. For example, when you watch Romero's Dawn of the Dead, the original, and there's a guy that gets his head cut off by a helicopter blade, and the blood spurts out.
Sure.
So, I mean, that looks real, and you're like, ugh. But in The Walking Dead, when someone gets their head cut with a sword, and this kind of like grayish stuff comes out. You're right, Matt. Number one, it doesn't seem like it's real. It seems fake to me.
I
And it
wonder
doesn't-
what was the movie or show that first did,
Yeah.
did it.
I
'Cause,
don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is a terrible trend. And
But Larry,
yeah.
I think you might be onto something too with the idea of that there might be a purpose to it in the sense of like that they want to desensitize you to it so you're not repulsed by it and more people watch. So you know your conscious mind and subconscious mind are both looking at this going, oh, it's not real.
It's like a comic book.
So I'm fine.
like comic book.
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
But we all like our horror.
Well,
horrifying.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny. What I don't like is like in Walking Dead, they do it all over the place.
Yeah.
and it irritates me.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
also seems like it cheapens it.
Doesn't
a
it
little
also
does.
seem like the sound seems cheap too? Like the Foley?
It's almost overdone. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
It doesn't sound gurgly enough.
it's
Right,
what's
right.
weird is, look, I'm gonna admit, I loved. I know you didn't like the second season, but that first season, the second season, it seems like it has really gone down
Yeah.
over the years
There
to the
are
point
some
where I
great
don't even
seasons.
watch it.
Yes.
It's funny though because even like the older films, like the Hammer films, where the blood was
So red,
bright,
yeah.
but it didn't look real. But even that though, I prefer over fake
I
CGI
agree.
blood. Like,
agree.
There was a lot of
Yeah.
older movies that it's like not the right color, but it's real blood dripping.
You brought up Dawn of the Dead.
I did.
And there is a scene in that film where when I first saw it, I lost my mind. It was like I couldn't believe that anyone was allowed to do an effect like this. And it's when they're in the tenement building and the first bite that somebody takes out of someone's shoulder.
It's so
Yes.
shocking, so like out of no. It's just what? Yeah, it looks so good.
And you know what that would look like CGI. And you'd be like, nah.
Right.
I still feel like even the way that it's done back then compared to maybe even more modern practical effects, there's something that's really pure about the way that they did it back then that really caught me off guard.
Yeah.
And even
Right.
when I see it now,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, I'm with you. That scene.
And also where that person is bit, like
Yeah.
bit in the shoulder.
Yeah.
It's just so, ugh.
So well done.
I know. It's really
And it's the guy's
really
mother. Or something.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
taking a big chunk of flesh in your teeth away.
And
Yeah.
and that's what you think that's what it would look like.
Yes.
That's
Right,
what
right.
It feels
yeah,
real.
It does
Right.
feel real.
Well, they upped the ante. I thought in Day of the Dead. I thought
There's
the gore
so
effect-
many
the gore
great-
effects in that movie are astounding.
outstanding.
Like they're like holy shit.
When that zombie gets up and all its innards
Yeah.
just slop
Or
out
when
of its
or when they
body.
tear apart Joe. What's his face?
Yeah.
It was like
Joe Pilato.
what
Yeah.
the hell? Like it's
Yeah.
how they do.
Well,
yeah, that's really good.
amazing.
Taking
Yeah.
that a step further, I mean, the whole argument about CGI versus practical effects, the prequel to The Thing. I mean, none of it's really scary because
Yeah, yeah.
you're seeing it's all CGI, and it was just so much more effective
Yeah.
when you couldn't see all that stuff in the Carpenter film, or I would say Alien 3. When you got the
oh,
CGI,
yeah.
it's
No,
like,
you really,
Yeah.
that,
was
you
like,
really
what?
notice it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just it's like there's no comparison to like
No.
the original
But-
guy in a
and
suit.
blood, which is different even, I would say, from a CGI creature.
Yeah, yeah.
Liquid. I mean,
Right.
you really, your mind, your
Yeah.
subconscious recognizes what real liquid looks like.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not that.
and it's a lot more effective
Yeah.
when
Well,
it's
even
real.
in Dead Alive,
Oh, yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're seeing the blood in that, like, how much did they use in that thing?
yeah. I know.
Give me,
Yeah.
give me all you got.
Yeah.
That's like
I'm
what?
not going anywhere.
Is Caro syrup that expensive now?
Yeah. Well, that's a big one for me.
Well, that's a good one, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. That was great. That really
Thank
was
you,
great.
Larry.
I like that one a lot, and I agree
I thought
with
you would. I thought you would.
But it's been great. I'm sure we could go on and on.
That was the most understated. This has been great. I like it. You threw me a curveball.
It's like you hit the nail on the head there. And
You were
it's-
thoughtful about your
The
No,
bloody
it's
nail
funny
on
because
the
I
head.
wrote this and I'm like, God damn it, he is right. And then I started to get angry again.
I love
You know-
it. I love it when you're angry.
No, you don't love it when I'm angry.
I kinda do.
No, because I am on your side.
I know you are.
I'm
I
on
know
your
you are.
side, and I don't know what the future holds. If we're going to see, if I think Sean had mentioned about how people maybe the filmmakers are taking notice. Maybe they're trying to do more practical effects and
I
try
mean,
to
you
get
do see that
away
more
so much from
every
the
once in a
CGI.
while, yeah.
I understand that maybe for something like Walking Dead, which I really don't know how long it's going to be around. I
I
really
can't
don't.
believe it's still on. I really can't.
Fear of the Walking Dead.
yeah.
That's
So-
still on.
I know.
but it's like here's an effect. It's a proven effect. It's worked for them. Maybe it's cost effective. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
No.
know.
Which is weird for that show because that show is so graphic and so brutal. I mean, I understand your theory maybe for other things, but for that show, I mean, my God, they do it. I mean, I don't think they pulled the stops on any kind of horror or explicitness when it comes to the brutality that you see in that show.
No.
I mean, I don't know.
Well,
Maybe.
speaking of brutality, what do you say? What do you say we do a lightning round?
Speaking of brutality. Oh, Johnny Segway over here.
All right.
Okay. All right, John Matta.
Anytime there's a mass serial killer, somebody, monster, whatever. They trap a person, and it looks like they're going to hurt them, and then they reach up and grab like a aluminum garbage can and hit them, and it somehow stops them for a second. You're going, this is,
Right.
it drives me crazy.
Right. Or like in the old Superman show or somewhere, like you'd see like, they're shooting guns at him like crazy, just standing with his chest out, and then they run out of bullets, they throw the gun at him, and he flinches.
He turns into a Victorian woman like he just saw a mouse.
Yeah, like,
Gun! Oh my!
Not in the face.
yeah, it's ridiculous. That's a good
that
one.
drives me absolutely.
Oh, that's a pet peeve.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's a good one.
Sean?
All right, I got a couple quick ones. Mostly for older movies, but PG-rated orgies. When you have like
Older movies.
satanic rituals, or we're having an orgy. Ooh, like look, that guy's like softly rubbing that woman's back. Oh, how explicit! It's like this is great. Come on,
Prom night.
You're at a you're at a satanic orgy. Okay, you're worshiping the devil. There's a couple movies like there's a Hammer film called The Witches. When that one it ends with like I swear they break out into this like choreographed dance, but it's like they're supposed to be like they're on crazy. Come on, if they're in a real satanic orgy. There'd be cum.
I'll kiss anyone in this room.
There'd be cum flying everywhere. Come on. But like movies like this.
That's the film you should make.
Yeah, but like
Cum
you're,
flying
you're not going to be
everywhere.
like snuggling in the corner, right? Just kissing on the cheek. I mean, one like Spectre, the movie Spectre, the TV movie
Yes.
Roddenberry. That's when they have an orgy. Oh, that one's interesting because that was I think
That's a little scantily
well,
clad.
it was actually released theatrically overseas, and in one cut of it, there were some topless chicks.
Ooh.
So, okay.
I gotta find that.
But still, like the Crimson Cult is another one where like these big orgies, and it's ridiculous. It's like it's like the swimming pool scene in Rocky Horror Picture Show is more graphic than any orgy in these movies. But that was always something that like come on.
In the film Hell Night, there is the loose girl who's doing it with everybody, and then she's making it with a guy, and then like the entire scene, she's got most of her clothes on.
Right. Yeah.
And like, was this shot in the 20s? Like, what is this?
It's classy.
So that's a pet peeve.
Get into your full body bathing suit.
Right. Another one is this. You still kind of see this all the time. Is like when a couple of characters are walking through a spooky house or something. They split up, and then one person's walking. Person A is walking down the hall, and then suddenly person B comes up from behind them, completely silent, and clutches their hand on their shoulder, and they turn around like, who does that?
Yeah.
Who like if who walks up to your friend who you just recently split up, and now you're coming back to them, and you don't say, hey, what's up? No, you just like you wait and you grab them by the shoulder to scare them.
I think in this day and age,
like-
the Me Too era and stuff like that.
I can't wait to hear where this is going.
I think that thing has gone the
Maybe,
way
yeah.
wise. We don't. Hi, Sean.
Yeah,
we
like
don't,
nobody does that.
No.
Nobody.
Yeah, but still, the superficial jump scare has been way overdone.
What does that have to do with me too?
Touching
oh.
people.
In a haunted house?
Like we don't. Back
like
in
your
the
Don Knotts
80s.
walking
So
through
wait a minute. So you're
secret-
saying that like douchey guys pick their moment with the ladies to be in a haunted house so they can then
Yeah, cop a
disappear in the
feel.
darkness and then clutch them from behind. Got your shoulder. Ooh, that means we're married.
yeah.
You don't want to know how my mind works, okay?
I love it. No.
Very
Keep 'em coming.
proper.
Sean,
and
that's a good.
respectful.
Yes,
Sean, that's
yes.
a good
Also,
one.
real quick, one more is like in name only horror sequels or franchises. Like
What do you mean?
Like
No,
Prom Night 2. Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2, which is actually a pretty good movie. It's actually maybe even better than the original Prom Night. It's more like a Nightmare on Elm Street thing.
Right.
And it's
But don't call it Prom Night.
Don't call it Prom Night. The Howling sequels just went off the rails.
yeah.
They went crazy. They have nothing to do with the original movie, most of them. There's a movie called The Curse, which is actually a version of The Color Out of Space with Will Wheaton. It's actually a pretty good movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then they made The Curse 2, The Bite, which is about a snake. It doesn't have anything, but they called it Curse 2. Then foreign films that were released misleadingly, like you had a film called The Horror Show, which is like Lance Henriksen is like kind of haunted by Brian James. He's like this kind
Yeah.
of, but they released it as House 3. It has nothing to do with the first
Not
two
the
House
House
films.
franchise?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or Mario Bava's last film he directed was called Shock. Pretty good film. They released it most countries as Beyond the Door 2. nothing to do with Beyond the Door. That's misleading. That's a pet
What
peeve.
about with Fulci and the zombie movies?
Well, that's true. That they were
Zombie 2.
Well, because Zombie 2, because Dawn of the Dead was released overseas, I think, or in Italy as Zombie.
Right.
So in Italy, Fulci's film, which was Zombie, was released as Zombie 2
Zombie
to fool
2.
people into thinking it was a sequel
Yeah.
to the
Did you
Romero
know that?
film. Yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
Take
my
that, Matta.
Yeah. So there you go. That's pet peeve.
Sean, those are some great pet peeves.
Great ones.
That's I mean,
Good stuff.
Mine here is like peanuts to these. I mean, those are really
Go,
good.
do it.
Go.
Okay, look, my pet peeve is, look, if you're going to show something that's period, make sure that the scientific elements or the toys that you have in the scene are period. And I have to
That's
tell
good,
you,
actually.
now
What's
look,
an example?
well, look, you guys jump on me for liking Trog. You know, with your jump. I love Trog.
Who
and there's
jumps on you for liking
yeah,
Trog? We all
look,
like
there's
Trog.
a great
Trog.
scene. First of all, when it was made, the popular space toy at the time was the Major Matt Mason toy.
That was
And-
accurate to the time for that
yes,
movie,
it was
right?
accurate to the
Yeah,
time.
okay.
Yes.
But just recently, what was the horror? I'm trying to remember the horror film that I watched with my daughter, and the first thing out of my mouth was when the kid is playing with a toy. I went, "Oh, that thing's not vintage." I just came out of my mouth, and my
So it's
daughter.
supposed to take place in an earlier
Yeah,
time?
yeah,
What
like in
was
the
film?
50s. Shit, I don't remember. I was so
Right.
angry, but
Right.
there was like a
How'd your
robot.
daughter respond?
Huh?
How'd your daughter respond?
She kind of
Please, Daddy, not again.
No, she knows. So
Can't we
maybe she
make it
just
through
humors
one
me.
movie?
Look. If you're gonna show a Robbie the Robot tin wind up, it has to be the black version because they didn't make a red and a silver version. There was only the black version.
Okay.
Those are
That would-
anachronisms. Anachronisms. If something's not in the right time.
And I understand why. Maybe because the red one shows up better. I don't care. I want to be accurate to the time.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I can see that.
So
although
that,
most people wouldn't know that, but like,
What-
but
what do
you
you-
would.
what do
well,
you
they wouldn't
mean?
recognize. They wouldn't know. They don't have the knowledge that you do
he-
as far
he
as
is
the
correct
history of
in what he's
toys.
saying.
Most
Is that-
people are.
It's obvious.
No,
It's obvious.
No. Larry,
Sean.
Larry, I know that you are right. But most people would not notice that. You do
Right,
realize
right,
that.
right.
That you are of the few who would catch that.
So my pet peeve is just like to me. Okay,
Then don't put it in the movie.
Right, right.
If
Drives
you
me
can't make
nuts.
vintage,
Cancel the movie, I
should
say.
be
No,
You should
no.
Cancel the movie.
Let's
if
say
you don't got the pieces, you
look,
can't put the
don't put it
puzzle
Don't
together.
do. You know what? If you're gonna have a little boy play with little army men, it takes place in the 60s. God damn it! Go and find the little army men from the 60s. What? You can't find it on eBay? Are you a moron? No. Don't get the pack that you can get at Walmart. No, those don't look like the ones from the 60s.
That kind of stuff bugs me all the time. A lot of times it's when they say stuff that they only say nowadays.
Slang or something.
Yeah,
Like in
yeah.
Boardwalk Empire, it's supposed to take place in the 20s. Somebody says, "Oh, I'm going to go press the flesh," like shake hands. Nobody said
Nobody
press the
said
flesh in the
that.
1920s. An episode of Mad Men, one of the secretaries goes, "Really?" Like, okay, well, that was much more of a modern thing, the way it was delivered, than it wouldn't happen in the 60s. So that stuff bugs the shit out of me.
Well,
Right,
because I know one thing that does bug you along these lines is like if you have women who are dressed in like 60s and their hair is wrong, you know, if they have
Right,
the wrong
right.
style,
Totally.
you know.
Especially in low budget movies, they just don't get it right, or they
yeah. It's like, weren't they on the ball with this kind of stuff? They spend so much on the vintage cars.
Well, because those are easy. It's like you can find. You know what it has to do with? Do your homework and care about the movie that you're trying to
Research.
make.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do your fucking research.
I agree.
Ken Daly was outraged in Stranger Things, the second
Uh-oh.
season.
Yeah?
When the kid had a
He made it through all the way.
When he had the cardboard proton pack.
Yeah.
Was a Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
No kids made proton packs
Nope.
back then.
Okay. No.
And
no.
dressed up like that. Cosplay wasn't a thing back then.
True.
That's true.
true,
That's
But
true.
wearing a costume to school was.
Yeah.
But it was Halloween,
you
though,
were a
wasn't it?
It was
stupid-
Halloween.
Yeah, yeah. You would wear a stupid cowboy outfit or something.
Yeah, Ben
you didn't
Cooper.
dress
Hobo-
up
hobo.
of a
Still hanging
movie
on.
That was out right then.
Yeah, that's true.
I
That's
think
true.
I think Ken was stretching it a little bit there.
listen.
I can't. I'm not on his
Who
bandwagon
did that?
there.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Drove me nuts when I saw it.
I will say that wasn't the thing that pulled me out of Stranger Things. Ultimately,
Many things.
Did you finish it, by the way?
no, I couldn't. I was,
You didn't get to the best part.
There's no best part.
There
It's-
is.
I didn't even
No,
bother
no.
the second
It was a
season.
great idea. They had passion for it, but
Oh, you guys.
No.
out
Well, it's
I,
it's
it
gonna
was
continue, isn't
so boring
without me.
and redundant.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right, fine.
Right. It's
James.
I look, I'm sure if I were 12 years old, I would love that show.
Where's your sense of wonder?
I wonder why they made this. Right?
James,
All right,
pet
James,
peeve.
go.
Lightning
Okay,
round.
I got 3 quick ones.
Go.
You guys know one of my favorite movies is Jaws. Well, the last decent shark movie I saw was Deep Blue Sea. Everything I've seen since then, and you can blame it on Sharknado. Everything since then has sucked. I got a little bit excited over the Meg. Horrible. I even tried to watch this 46.
The Meg was. I mean, it was so stupid.
It was just
the second it's over. He's like, whatever. But like, I have to admit, it moved. It wasn't
moved.
boring.
It wasn't
boring.
It wasn't
Like
boring.
a
It was
shark.
just,
It kept moving.
And again, it was just too much of the CGI. You know, if you can do it, it's not. There's no reason to do
I was
it.
gonna on my list actually. I had like shark movies that always use stock footage of sharks.
Oh well.
That overdo it. But even though the original Jaws was like one or
Yes.
two, but
You're
well
right.
placed
Yes.
stock footage shots. But there's later like Jaws ripoffs. There's just a different shark in every shot.
Right,
It's
right,
like
right.
it doesn't look at all like the fake shark. It's just terrible.
Isn't it funny though? Is that like you've got Jaws with the whole joke of that movie was they could never get the shark to work.
I know,
And that
that's
shark
so effective
is far more
because
frightening.
because it's done, but it's limited in
Yeah.
what they
'Cause it's
show.
subliminal.
It
You know what's
builds.
a good shark movie, I think, is Open Water.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
see,
yeah.
Yes, I
couldn't,
saw
you
it.
couldn't drag me to a movie like that.
Why?
I said, what?
It's too realistic.
It's
Like-
like it's like that Sandra Bullock George Clooney space movie.
Gravity?
No,
Gravity.
it's not.
Gravity.
I like
Because you have
Gravity.
people who are stranded somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're either waiting to get rescued or they try to have to survive. Not my kind of movie. I don't like claustrophobia. I don't, I'll have to
Well,
do
It's
too real
called
for you.
Open Water.
it's not a movie for me. Not a movie for me.
Interesting.
Anyway,
It's a good movie though.
moving on. You know, we were talking recently about the Godzilla Criterion Blu-ray
Yes.
collection.
Okay.
How not every version of every movie is on there. The Universal box set, I was disappointed that they didn't include the documentary on Universal Horror. Every Blu-ray I think that comes out should have everything on it.
Yeah,
if
it
I'm
is-
going to be spending that kind of money, just put it on there. You can fit it on the technology.
Yeah, that is kind of annoying because you end up keeping other versions, other
You have
sets
to.
because like you want the ultimate all-encompassing set.
Yeah.
But a lot of times there are things missing. A lot of times when DVDs have great extras and then they put out a Blu-ray and they don't port over the same. They don't
Yeah.
port over everything. Yeah, that is kind of annoying.
Very. And then finally, this isn't horror really, but you're going through, your basic cable channels, and I mean, I like IFC, but since when was Die Hard 2 an independent film? BBC America, classic Star Trek. Or is it because of
there are cable channels that there's so many channels and they have no real niche or identity at all. They just show anything that they have. Can
Remember
get
when A&E was the arts and entertainment?
yeah. I remember the classic thing, of course, MTV, when it was like
MTV,
music
yeah,
videos. and, like,
VH1. I
it's
challenge
so
anybody
weird.
to find a video on
yeah,
VH1
it's so
anymore.
weird. I know. It
It just pisses me off. Be what your identity says you are. God damn it.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I agree.
Pet peeve.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
Matt.
All right. Well, I've brought this up in the past, but it needs to be said again. Why aren't you looking behind you? Look behind you. Look behind you. If the shit is going down, you're in a haunted house, the zombies are out, there's a demonic whatever happening, you're going to look behind you because that's usually where it's coming from.
Right. Or even worse, walking backwards, walking into something.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
You really? Like, yeah.
When was the last time any of us walked backwards?
I couldn't do it. I don't think I could do it.
I can't walk forward sometimes.
I'd break a hip. Yeah, I'd hit a crack or something.
Or unless you're being chased by a monster, and then you keep looking back, and it's only tripping you up. No, just don't look back. Just run. run.
Right.
But see, but then
Yeah,
there's
then
a
you're
different
running, right.
impulse happening.
Yeah.
You're moving forward to get away from the thing. You
Right,
know
right.
what's in back of you.
Yeah,
Right,
It's usually that person who is thinking that I guess everything's going to come face first. All horror comes face first.
Right.
Look behind you. Look behind you. It'll save your
I hate
life.
the running in the middle of the street covered in blood. If I see that in one more movie, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah.
What are you doing in the middle of the road?
Yeah. Once again, like the first couple times, fine.
Serpentine around trees.
You
You got a crazy person.
Oh.
Don't go in
Yeah.
the middle of the
Yeah.
road.
Have the in-laws taught us nothing? Serpentine. I don't know how many movies I watch, many horror movies I watch, right? You just go, Serpentine!
Right.
Serpentine. I think I'm done with the loud retro soundtrack. You know?
What do you mean, like songs or?
Well, no, like the synthesizer. It was cool. Like I enjoyed it when it was used in like It Follows.
I think It Follows kind of brought it back.
Kinda brought
'Cause then
it back.
Stranger Things did it.
Yes,
and like a lot of other movies.
And
now.
I
It's the John Carpenter-esque.
I liked it for a couple movies,
Yeah,
but now let's come up with something else. Do something else.
Okay.
Okay.
Polka music or something.
Yeah. I would also like to say that there is no excuse anymore for bad acting. Like, it's easy enough to find someone. There are so many people that want to be actors
Right.
that are good actors. And I don't know how many short films I see where I'm like, holy fuck, that person's great.
Right.
They should put him in something or her in
Right.
something. That when you see someone who's completely terrible, and it's not like they're that attractive that you go, oh, well, because they're so beautiful or handsome, that's why we put them in there. No, there's no excuse.
Sometimes it's with actual stars too. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes
well,
they give
that
off
but
performances.
see, yeah,
You know.
and that, I would say
Okay.
that's a little different
Oh,
because
okay,
that's
okay.
usually, or it's like somebody on the way down.
right.
Sure. What I'm going to say, Matt, to that is, in a perfect world, like when we did that episode, what if I had my own movie studio? When you have your own movie studio and you can cast whoever you want to try and find the best actors. That's great. But as these films are made, there's all kinds of reasons why certain people get cast and others don't. And sometimes it just, maybe there is
Like a
someone,
political thing or something.
yeah,
or,
Matt,
yeah.
it happens all the frickin' time.
And I'm talking
whether
about
it's-
really from an artistic place.
I understand where you're going. You could say, look, there's no excuse. We shouldn't have any more bad actors, and I get it. In a perfect world, yes, I can see it. But, Matt, it's always going to happen. Whether it's someone that has a better name or someone who was a model or was the
Slept
girl.
with the producer.
I mean, yeah.
You're
I
right.
mean,
Who's consistently now an actor that when you watch a movie you go, oh my God, this guy or girl again? I do. Whenever I see John Leguizamo, I react like he just showed up to a party that I don't want him at. Who
He's one of
invited
those-
Leguizamo?
He can be good though.
He's one of those guys that I don't necessarily hate. Like John Wick,
I
he's
don't hate
fine.
anyone. He's fine.
But he's
he
not.
ate a lot of Quiznos.
Yeah.
Because he's a lot bigger now, and you don't really recognize him as much anymore. But he's just one of those actors that you go, how's he still working?
I've never liked Scarlett Johansson, and she's all over the place.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
never
I
liked
love her.
Never, ever
I
liked
would.
her.
I would say she's a
could
little
see
hit.
it.
I'd say she's hit and miss.
There's just something about her. that-
Comedically,
like
she's
her.
horrible.
Yeah.
Anytime she's in a comedy.
You know, they're coming out.
Not
There's
good.
there's a trailer already out for the Black Widow film.
Yeah.
yes, and
Although, well, it does look
Could
very
be great.
but it looks very grounded. It looks more like it's a spy movie. It's not like it doesn't. There's nothing with space or like it looks maybe who knows.
which is fine.
But I mean, I kind of dig her.
Larry,
I
who
did-
do you not like?
I'm trying to think if that falls into that category, and right now I can't think of anyone at the.
Well,
Pause
I'll cut in some music during this.
There are
I
some
did-
consistent actors that I
I-
just go,
Someone,
how's this possible?
I
Okay,
have to admit,
like-
though, I just actually it was one of the recommendations from I think Chris Mancini on one of
Okay.
our shows, a movie called Vanishing on 7th Street, and John Leguizamo is in it, and he's very good.
Oh, good.
He's much more like low key.
Broken clocks right twice.
Yeah, he's pretty good in that one.
He's done enough that he should be good at this by now.
Yeah,
How about the crazy career of Nick Cage?
Yeah.
And
which is going to come now. He's back.
It's so
now.
strange because he can go from brilliant to not so good.
fantastic.
But even in the not so good, it can then kind of
Still
get
good.
brilliant.
Interesting.
You know?
Vampire's
yeah.
Kiss. Yeah, Nicolas Cage of
Yeah.
Vampire's Kiss.
He's,
Every decision he makes is wrong. where he jumps up on a table for no reason.
Yeah.
It seems like the director said, so I just want you to walk in, turn to your left, action. He walks
Yeah.
in the room, jumped on the table.
He's in a new
fantastic.
version of Colorado Space. There's a new film
Oh,
with
cool.
him in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad, he gives this long speech that's way overacted, way over the top, and I'm entranced.
Nice.
Yeah. But
I'm
so
up for all his craziness.
let me throw in just a couple more and we'll
Sorry.
close this thing out. Colored contact lenses. Now, there was a time.
You don't like those?
Well, no, here's the deal is that
I
there
like
was a
those.
time when that was cool because it was new.
Right.
But now you go to any Halloween party and everybody's got these things. Anyone can get them. So you can't depend on that as a scare alone. The only exception for me is ones that cover the entire eye.
Black it out.
Yeah, like
right.
Black or white?
well, black is really great. Like
Yeah.
X Man with the X-ray eyes.
Yeah, that was all.
It depends
boy,
though.
that's-
Like I mean, like at least back in the day, like in The Beyond, Emily with the blind girl.
And
That's
I would
really effective.
But I would say if you did that movie now, it wouldn't be the
maybe
same.
not. Yeah, maybe not.
You know, Matt, I got to tell you, I don't mind that. If you're saying, well, if they just have that, that doesn't cut it. You know, but I like.
I'm saying
the contacts.
overuse. I'm saying
Okay.
using it as something that is propelling the scariness of a certain character. That can't be it. Or if you're going to do it, make it so it's not like the, Spirit Halloween store variety. Yeah.
Right.
Let's have something
You got to
new
beat
and
out
unique.
Marilyn Manson.
Right.
Well,
Right.
yeah, and that's a very good point too. It's just like, okay, everybody can do that now.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
it's
true.
no longer
Yeah, it's not
anything.
a thing anymore.
And so the last thing I want to say is that there is something I've been seeing that really gets me annoyed. And the reason I think this is happening is that I think there are a lot of filmmakers out there who want to be these indie touchy-feely drama directors, but they can't because they don't have the clout or whatever, and they get their in through horror movies. So they make their touchy-feely whatever film, and they make it genre. And the first one that really stuck out to me was the Gareth Edwards Monsters.
Oh, yeah.
This whole kind of apocalyptic story of these monsters that are terrorizing the landscape, and there's this area that they inhabit, and this couple has to make their way through the monsters' territory, and it's just so much navel gazing and just long conversations about what they're going through, and it's like you didn't want to make a horror movie.
You don't like drama. You don't like. You don't like emotion.
I like drama within my horror. You know what better drama? I'm going to go back to one of my favorite films of all time, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You want drama? Put that poor girl at a table with a bunch of psychos all screaming at her.
Right.
That's drama. Not everyone discussing their feelings. And that's the thing that I hate about The Walking Dead, too. There's so many speeches.
Oh my God.
And I just feel like it's the writers, like, what we'd really prefer to be doing is writing our play. But we've got to do this bullshit, so okay.
All right.
Wow,
Pet peeves.
That's some serious pet peeves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice one, Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, John, I want to thank you so much for being with us
Yes.
to discuss
Thank you for
these
having me
horror
here,
pet
man.
Yeah,
peeves.
this is good.
I, as I said, I love walking my dog and listening to Monster Party. I'd like to say hi to John, who's walking his dog now in Glendale. How you doing, buddy? Be careful out there. Don't look behind yourself. Keep going forward.
And John, let me ask you, for
Yes.
our listeners and for John out there, is there anything you're working on? Is there another napkin book thing
Yeah,
coming
you got
out?
volume
What's
2
going on?
coming?
Well, we were when we were going to do another art show. I think in the new year Rose and I are going to do a live show together.
A
and then
live show?
Yeah, with
What, you're going to draw on a napkin and live?
We're gonna do a
That's
multimedia
great.
show with a pop-up gallery afterwards.
Fantastic.
That's cool.
So that's what we got planned for next year.
So
Where can we get your book?
You mean this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
See?
How time flies.
It's 1975 in this room with all of us. Yeah. So that's the plan of, I think we're going to do a test one in March and then see how it goes.
Where can we get your last book?
Amazon or go to mattanapkin.com.
And the book is
Matta-
called
Matta Napkin, a daily comic on a napkin in a book.
A little on the nose,
And
but
then
that's fine.
and then we had the Please Stop Lying T-shirts, and we were going to start selling red hats with Trump's head, with underneath it said, "I even ruin red hats." But after, now that he's been impeached, our president, and the Senate was really stepped up their game and got rid of him.
Oh my God! Isn't that
really
amazing?
surprised
I
the
did not,
balls on Mitch McConnell.
did not
Really
see that
did it.
coming.
Yeah.
Instead of being a human centipede and climbing right up everybody's colon.
I'm selling impeached peaches.
Every bite is worse than the next. But thank you so much. I'm a huge fan of this podcast. It's
We love you.
my
You're fans of you,
favorites.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, John, thanks for being with us. I'd like to give a toast to John Matta
John
and
Matta.
Horror Pet Peeves.
In the year 2020.
Yay!
Time for a listener shout out.
Wait, no, no. I have a beef here.
Oh,
I have a
beef.
beef. Yes.
Another peeve?
No, wait.
Wow.
Yes.
Monster Party peeve.
Yes, and I've been thinking about this, all week.
Oh, no.
Since we had
This
to
is
come
gonna
up
be
with
a
our
doozy.
horror pet. You know what?
What?
Because we're friends.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
perhaps we had some friend pet peeves.
Oh.
Pet peeves
no.
about our friends. And so I wrote down some things, and I thought, we've known each other for years,
Is
and
this,
I thought
is this the
it's-
last episode of Monster Party?
No, Sean, I think
This
it's
is like
about
a
time.
wedding ceremony where
no.
only one side gets to write their vows.
I think it's about time that we air some grievances or some peeves.
I'm not prepared, Larry.
Okay,
Okay, let's see. Let's
you're
see
not
how this
prepared?
goes.
No.
Well, maybe if I
Give us-
start something.
give us one of 'em.
Okay, yes, I do. And the first one is about my good friend James, who I love very much, and
But-
you're a great friend.
I love you, Larry.
But if there's anything that I have a peeve with,
Yes.
it's you and your fucking notes. Every fucking show. I don't want to look at your notes. You're always trying to, don't look at my notes. Don't look at my notes. It's like, God, it irritates the hell out of me. I'm not going to look at your fucking notes.
This is like
Can't
an
you
evening
just-
with Arnold
can't-
Rimmer.
Can't you just bring your notes on a piece of paper and have them out like I do? Look, James, here's my notes. Oh, you're going to look at these?
Well,
No,
Larry,
I
you're-
don't
Okay,
care.
now-
I'm
You
saying
really, really want to look at my notes, don't you?
no. I don't want to look at your notes.
I will say this. It is kind of an enigma why you hide them. and not only do you hide them, but you write them in very tiny script.
Post-it
Yeah.
notes.
and it's
Yeah.
scribble. I
Yeah.
can't even read your note. If I looked at
I
your
couldn't-
Who can read
James,
that?
I'm in my 50s. I can't read your notes.
Perfect.
So what I wanted to say is, can you let go? Can you relax? Can you write a note and have it there and go,
Larry is telling somebody to relax. I love that.
I know.
okay.
Larry, I appreciate that, and I know it took a lot of courage
On the
to share
outside.
that, but you got to understand, it's not really about being afraid anybody's going to copy my notes. It's just that it's my own shorthand. It's like it comes from my head onto a little piece of paper. You guys.
Why do you hide it then?
You hide it.
Well, again, it's a reflection of how my brain works. I tend to hide what's in my brain too. See, so it's just,
Let us in. Let us
I
in,
can't
James.
see in your brain.
Good.
I could look in your head and go, what is in your head? I can't see it.
perfect.
So
We should just write him little notes during the
There's
show.
no.
Just say,
There's no.
we
need
love James.
to hide your notes.
All
You know
right.
what? Okay, Larry, I'm
Okay.
gonna take a leap of faith. I'm gonna write really big notes from now on.
Good. And while we're on the
cards.
topic,
Okay.
so Matt.
Oh, here we
Okay,
go.
so again, I love my good friend Matt. He's a he's a rascally guy.
I'm a rascally,
He's Mr.
rascally
Rascal.
rabbit.
But sometimes when I'm trying to tell a story and it's a thoughtful story and you interrupt me, you'll go and you'll toss in that Matt joke or that Matt thing. It's like, ha
Matt
let me
joke.
make a Matt funny at the expense of Larry. And then sometimes it's so funny because you're such a hilarious guy that I get dumbfounded. I'm like, I can't go on. Or I've lost my thought. And then you look at me like I'm an idiot, and you go, "Oh, come on!"
I never
come
do
on.
that.
Yeah, yes.
don't look at you like
you're
you're
looking
an
at me
idiot.
right now like you're Mr. Idiot, Larry.
I look at you like you're a lunatic.
but it's like, can't you? If I'm telling a passionate story, can't you just hold back on that funny joke?
Well, here's where I'm coming from, Larry. And I think that we can do this together. It takes a village, and it's a two-man village. I think that there was a time when you interrupted my jokes and things that I would say. And so I think maybe we could both work at giving us that room, that place where we can both get our laughs or whatever, or what we want to say in, and your story in, and everybody's
A
happy.
neutral zone.
How do you like that? A
and you
neutral zone. I like that.
And you know something? You're absolutely right. It was my own insecurity of trying to, well, let me throw in a funny joke to get him for, throwing in his funny joke, and my funny joke could never.
But see-
so yes, yes,
did it again.
I will work on that. It's a little pet peeve, but
I think that you and I together can find a happy medium here,
Right,
where we
okay.
both get what we want. See, I love the things that you say, like because I can't believe.
oh, yeah.
I can't believe them. Like each time you say these crazy things, it opens up a whole new world for me. And
Yeah.
so I just get so excited. I feel like I have to comment, but
Right.
But
Well,
I will
that's
give you your
great.
time to shine.
Well,
That's
you know
good.
what? I would like to say, like what you told me once before, and I've tried to do this, and I've been working really hard on it for every episode, and that is to listen. To listen to my friends.
Oh, I'm not going to do that.
well, there are times you guys have gone on your little rants, and I'm going, you know what? I'm going to listen to Sean. I'm going to listen to what he's saying. And speaking of Sean.
Oh, no.
No. It's like.
So far, these are all fine. By the way,
No, okay, no, and,
Yeah.
and Sean,
sang the best
Sean, no, the best. I'm not gonna say I like
Stop
one of
the
you.
whoring.
I'm not gonna say I like one of you more than the other. That's not what I'm gonna say,
Okay.
and it's not. You're not third because of any special reason. But along the same lines as Matt, there have been not as much, but as a few times you've had to throw in that little funny joke at my expense. He cries like a little girl. I mean, that when you threw
Did
that
I say
at me,
that?
yes,
How
you
do you
did.
remember
Yeah,
these things?
you
That's a good one.
did.
You rack them up in your brain. You just keep them in your head.
I wouldn't say- I
at the
wouldn't-
forefront of your mind all the time.
It's called anger, Sean. It's called anger.
And I wouldn't-
write
to be
it down.
fair,
And
I wouldn't say a little girl.
I write it down
A
over
teenage
and
girl.
over again. Sean did
as,
this.
As
and,
this is 2020, we now have to move forward.
Yes, and that's why I thought for 2020 it's a new year. We're gonna turn over a new leaf.
Okay.
I wanted to air out these peeves or these grievances, and I'm sure you guys have peeves with me or each other. And I thought
I've got nothing
You
for
know
Sean
what?
or
I have
James.
nothing.
I've got nothing for Matt or Sean either.
Yeah. So there you go.
But I hear what you're saying, and I respect the fact that you feel safe enough, and with
Right,
our
right.
Oh,
listeners,
yes.
to
Right,
air
right.
these grievances.
Especially on this Pet Peeves episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
well, I
perfect timing.
totally appropriate.
Right,
Yes.
right.
And I'm not going to just shrug off what you've said. I am going to apply it.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know
gonna
if there
try.
if there are listeners out there, if you have a pet
Oh,
peeve
no,
with us,
no.
or a pet,
No,
I
no,
want
no,
you to
no.
say, let us know. Just hey, like the show, but my pet peeve is blah blah blah.
What the fuck are you trying to do
Why would
now?
you
No,
want
I
that?
want-
Now you're trying to get people to turn on us.
Yeah.
They're not going to turn. Maybe
And if listeners also have some grievances with Sean, James, and Matt,
Yeah.
I don't know
okay,
about that.
no,
Right, yeah.
that's fine. That's fine. Once again, I've heard you,
All right, there it is.
and I respect
All
your
right.
feelings.
Thank
Glad
you,
got
Matt.
that out, though. Yes.
Do you respect my feelings?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Sean.
Yes.
James,
Of course.
inside, you know what he's saying.
Yeah,
In very tiny writing, you know what he's saying.
Didn't sound very convincing.
Of course, Larry.
You usually have
There,
such flowery
that's sincere.
language.
But of course, Larry.
There you go.
I'm like Boris Karloff.
That was good.
It sounded like James Mason.
I'm not even going to try.
Do you have a
No.
shout out to do?
You know, speaking of listener feedback, we have 2 new reviews, guys.
Oh, my goodness.
This first one comes from Rich Forgot His Password. The best party podcast.
Yay!
Monster Party's everything it says it is in the title. It's a lively podcast discussing monsters of every kind and in every medium. The hosts, Matt, Sean, James, and Larry, in no particular order,
But kind of.
and their expert guests trade facts and opinions on genre movies, books, TV shows, comics, graphic novels. Each episode is a unique take on the subject. Some of my favorites are their Who Would Win shows,
Yay!
All right.
with topical debates over whether Popeye could defeat Superman.
Oh.
Absolutely. Or if the Bride of Chucky could defeat the Bride of Frankenstein.
That was a good one, too.
They all know their stuff, including details on characters, actors, artists, directors, makeup, cinematography, even soundtracks and scores.
right.
It's highly educational in that sense, but also a party in every other. The podcast flows like a kitchen conversation among best friends at a dinner party. Fueled by a true love of the genre and a few adult beverages, it is full of wit, sharp commentary, friendly jibes, and inside jokes.
Friendly jibes.
Thank you. That's a good point.
I'm relatively late to the genre. I was the opposite of a monster kid growing up in the 60s, but I'm glad I finally made it to this party.
Yay!
Larry,
cool.
James, Sean, and Matt, in no particular order,
Hey, yeah.
I see what he's doing.
Yeah.
are most excellent hosts, going out of their way to make everyone feel welcome and at home in the conversation.
Hey,
Nicely said.
that is
But that
nice.
so much.
That kind of that kind of review, especially, we're kind of educating and turning on fans who maybe didn't grow up as, like he said, he didn't grow up as a monster kid.
No.
Like
We've converted people.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. That's
amazing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Thanks,
No, that's-
Rich.
Thank you so
Forgot
much.
your password. Or...
Hope you remember it, Rich.
A great review. I
That's
love,
awesome.
I love that
Thank
one.
you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
And as if that weren't enough, we have a second review.
Oh, my
There's
gosh.
more.
A second review.
This comes from Lorenzo Lamas as Don Luke. He calls it the unofficial Monster Party drinking game.
Nice.
Oh.
To best get into the spirit of the show, take a drink of choice for any of the following moments. Raucous laughter. Tonight's topic is demon booze. The guest is interrupted. Let's save it for our blank show. James doesn't know what Star Trek is. Sean is stumped.
What? What am I stumped?
Matt says, I'm not familiar. Larry says, mint in box. Anytime someone mentions Night of the Lepus, play along at home, and you might be as funny as the hosts. Great show. Only problem is that Larry doesn't get to talk enough.
Yes. we agree.
Signed, Jake and Luke Stroth.
Wow.
Relatives, Larry?
Think for a second.
Yes. Yeah.
your brothers?
No, those are not my brothers.
Jake and Luke?
Those are my nephews.
Really?
It took
Well-
you almost 100 years to remember who they were.
Look, it's been a long day.
Wow. Sorry, Jake and Luke.
No, these are great kids. And let me tell you something.
Yeah.
These kids, they have great parents. Great parents. But,
But
yeah.
okay.
But these kids liked monsters early on, and their folks are, I don't know where to get monster toys. I'm like, what? And I mailed these kids the sideshow figures.
Oh, cool.
The small
Universal
Yeah,
Monsters?
the Universal Monsters.
Which ones?
And the 8-inch ones.
yeah, but I mean, like, which characters?
Oh, Wolfman, Frankenstein.
Oh, the classics.
Yeah,
Cool.
and,
Main
and,
ones.
the Phantom of the Opera, Sean.
Well, that's a great figure.
And they loved them, and they put them up on their shelves, and they idolized them, and
How
me,
old are they?
and
How old are these kids?
Oh, they're college. Well, they're college kids now.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and they still
Are you
love
sure?
their
Enjoy these toys. What's your face?
and one of them has been living in Japan. Japan.
Is that
Oh
right?
wow!
Yeah,
really?
yeah,
Tell him
yeah.
to pick
Where-
up some stuff for us.
Yeah, we're in Japan.
Oh shit, I don't remember.
God, you know nothing.
It's a big country. Come on, I can't remember everything. but
Oh, that's cool.
They're actually
he's-
girls, aren't they?
No, and he likes anime and Godzilla.
Oh, cool.
And,
No,
yeah,
birds of a feather.
So yeah, exactly. And he's
Awesome.
they've sent pictures, of toys and stuff. So
Sweet.
yeah,
Cool.
Oh.
So they're
That was
great
that was
kids.
another great review.
Yes. Yes.
I
Thank
love that
you,
game.
Jake and
If
Luke.
we played that game, we'd die.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
here's the weird thing. I couldn't play that. I need to be in a safe environment, in a place where I
Right.
know where I'm going to crash.
Well, like I said, someday we have to do a blotto episode.
I think it would be fun
Do
just
something
for-
where we're
Yeah.
like
See,
we're wasted or drunk or both.
Why
or
would you
whatever.
want to do that,
It would
Sean?
be funny.
But
Kids
just for
it would
fun.
be
Great.
hilarious.
No, it's like you'll be all Lepus and
Exactly. It'll be hilarious.
But that's not funny.
I
How
think
do you
it would
know
be.
until we
you
do it?
know.
Look, the
It'll be-
worst that
it'll
can
be an
happen.
Experiment. It'll be an experiment.
The worst that can happen is we record it. We have a great time. We laugh a lot.
We listen to it, and if it doesn't meet our expectations,
Yeah, because you might not
Right.
remember
It
a lot
never
of what
airs.
happened.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
We will do that
but
eventually.
it would be worth to do just as an experiment.
Yeah.
okay. But I'm just going to be drinking no, reefer madness
Reefers.
like this guy. over
Mr.
here.
Reefer.
Not even a gummy in the eye.
No, I'm not going to know. What you? What? Why are you awing me?
Oh.
Why?
Because I would love to see you let loose.
I let my hair down. I'll have some cocktails. I'll be hey.
Once again, I would never push any drug on anyone
Yeah.
because you never know how someone's
Yeah.
going to react or like it or whatever.
Of course.
But I would say that at some point in your life, you might want to try just
Yeah, for the
at least
experience.
a minute amount just to see what it's like.
Yeah, just to relax.
Because it's not like, I mean, pot, it's not like you're doing heroin or something.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost a sibling drug to like alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all it
Sean,
is.
I can
moderation
without,
is very
without
important.
the hangover.
I know, but I can relax with a little Diet Pepsi and some popcorn, man. A little butter.
And vodka.
Yeah, well, maybe some vodka in there. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, this has been enlightening
And
uplifting.
we should remind our listeners that you can find us on Facebook and on YouTube at Monster Party TV. Our Twitter handle at Monster Party HQ. Instagram is also Monster Party HQ. And as we read these fine reviews from these very appreciated fans, if you would take a moment and write us a review, we will read it on the air. So
Yes.
please do. We would love that.
Thanks again, nephews.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
Make a list of your own horror pet peeves.
You know what else bugs me about you guys?
Shut up.
Enough.
If I may.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Shut up
Let the
and,
robot-
and
No,
learn.
no, it's not like I'm Mr. Robot Expert.
You are Mr. Robot.
No, I'm
Of
not.
our group,
I'm,
then
okay,
yes.
maybe of our group, but I will say this.
Say it.
When you take the Zeroids, the blue one and the red one, to put the battery in, you take them off by the middle, and what happens is the top, which is the head connected to the arms, pops off.
That had to
but
been
but
it,
see, the thing is, some people think that that's supposed to happen. It's not supposed to happen. They didn't use a lot of glue, and that is something that's an issue that happens typically with those particular toys.
And the tab
The tab,
that connected the robot to the battery pack was so thin.
it's very thin.
And that thing, like, I love that robot, but the first thing that happened, I mean, I touched it and it just shattered, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, they were definitely those on.
Do you know there's a toy that I have? It's, as we all know, Terron, the Beast from Beyond, from Super Joe Commander. We all know that,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I'm a big fan.
And that toy is such a freaking cool toy. It's got 6 legs. You put 3 giant D batteries in the chest, but you really got to wedge them in there. And the thing that gets me is, do you know what? I went to see if I wanted to see if it still worked. I couldn't bring myself to put the batteries in there because I was so paranoid, like what Matt said about the little tab. There's
Yeah,
a
you
little
don't wanna fuck
tab,
with it, yeah.
and it's like I can't put the batteries in there. I mean, so much time has passed that I'm afraid that the plastic, no one expected these toys to last as long as they have.
Oh,
And,
God, no.
And so there is a thing that you can do, though. What you do is you take the 3 batteries and you connect them to, there's like a little device that you could put 3 batteries in, and you take a wire and connect it to the input and the output, or the positive and the negative. You can do that to see if your toy still works. But it's like, it's a big hassle, but I could not put the batteries. I looked at it. I just can't do it.
When did they go from D to AA? I never could. I remember some of the double A's, it would be
Yes.
Well, a lot of the bigger
like,
things.
it has to
like
do
8 of them, more than 4.
Yeah, it has to do with the technology and
the
the
size, yeah.
The size. Basically, what happened was, if your toy had a certain shape, they knew that you could, if you took the double A's and put them in like a quad, that takes up less space, I guess, than the big batteries or something like that.
And if you have a dinosaur,
yeah,
say,
Yeah.
You could put them all in the body, and you're
Yes.
not going to really take away too much from the design. What I like about what they did with batteries with the Matt Mason toys, I have it down there. If you could see, it's the Matt Mason space cannon, and so. The batteries go in that area that you would expect the batteries to go. That looks like a little
Jetpack.
designed.
But what's great is that it looks like these massive, power units, and I just love working in the technology of the time to make it look a little more futuristic,
Why
a
not?
little
Sure.
You and Carrie
World's Fair.
You and Carrie drop tomorrow. Who gets everything?
Well, I have worked it in our, I guess, I don't know if it's our formal will or my formal will,
Gee, and I have done that too.
but everybody gets a little something, and then there's sub tiers.
Really?
Yeah.
So you get a pass.
When you say you get a pass, what does that mean?
Meaning
Like
you get to come in,
but not
you
until,
get a run.
Well, not until we go through.
No, of course, right.
Matt has got like the 4th
Wow.
round. Or something.
He's right.
And I think you're only limited to taking 3 things, and we need to approve
I
of it.
think we should be shopping carts like those shows, remember? Where you had 14 seconds to get 8.
Sure, right. This shopping spree.
I broke it all.
Remember to do that.
I broke it all.
But the damn dirty geeks get first bids, though, right?
Oh,
They pretty much own already everything here. But when my parents, we were such dicks to my parents, and now they're living in a retirement home. But but before that, I
can't live with you.
We were constantly saying like, I'm going to get this, and I'm going to get that, to the point where we actually started putting like little stickers on things. Yeah,
We did that.
yeah.
like the cat in Red Dwarf.
This is mine. This is mine. This is mine.
Test.
I think everyone sounds pretty good.
Hello, good.
Monster
We're
Party.
peaking, so it's
Monster
almost too much.
Party.
Sean Sheridan. Am I good? I'm
All
good.
in. All in.
Do 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 do.
I'm going to turn
sound-
you up a little bit.
You're too much. I think.
Too much. Well, because I was do 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 do.
Yeah, don't do that.
Do that.
Hello.
Hello,
Okay.
I'm
Better?
Sean Sheridan.
I'm James
Maybe
Gonis.
Boost me a little bit, maybe.
I think you're all right.
I'm Sean
Dead
Sheridan.
man's wrath.
Okay. Ooh, what was that? I hear a little static.
Don't worry
for a
about it.
second. Okay.
That's good.
All right. Cool. Good.
Okay, I think
All
we're
right,
good.
We should go because it's 9:15.
Let's please do this. Yes.
oh, this is what hour 15? Come on.
Oh.
We'll see.
Okay. ready?
Although if we get into this other thing that I'm going to go into, it could go longer.
hours.
No, we'll go.
Well, then we won't. Okay.
Oh no, we have to.
No.
I started to make this list, and I'm all.
No,
oh,
we're not going into White Christmas.
Did everyone have a good holiday? Everyone have a good holiday?
When does this go up?
Well, this is going to be.
This is
January 6th.
yeah.
Happy New Year!
First one of 2020. The first.
Yeah,
one.
there you go.
Nice.
Starting off the new year.
You had a good holiday, didn't you?
Yeah.
Little nog, kicking back.
Yeah, oh, the
drink wine?
presents and the Yuletide.
I had nog for the first time last year.
Yeah.
Did you?
Eggnog?
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Delicious.
Good. I busted 2 pair of pants.
While you were drinking it?
Yeah, 'cause
Like
then
a
it goes
cartoon?
on sale. Yeah, I had
Bing,
way
bing,
too much
bing,
nog.
bing,
Yeah.
bing.
Do you know what my mother-in-law introduced me to?
What?
And I was not into it at all at first. No, and she coaxed me into.
Anal?
What does that have to do with the holidays?
What doesn't it have to do with the holidays?
Bailey's.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's like, oh my God, this
Bailey's is good.
Where have I been?
Bailey's on Ice. That's
Oh my God,
nice.
I can't.
That commercial?
I mean,
Bailey's and eggnog.
I mean, Sean will do his reefer, but I use my
will do-
Bailey's.
Sean, Sean,
You do my
Sean
Bailey's.
will do
I'm
his
Mr.
reefer.
Reefer. I am Mr. Reefer.
When he's not on the goofers, he will be doing his reefer with the Hepcats at
But
the
it's
gin
like,
joint.
think about it, he's got to inhale that or whatever. But
He's
it's
gonna
like
inhale or whatever they
I'm
do.
gonna have a glass with ice and my Bailey's. And I'm like, oh
just
God,
an
this is
inhaler.
great.
How did you become Father Time?
Yeah.
wow.
Have you had Kahlua too?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
Yeah,
and,
that's
and
right.
coffee too, and a little eggnog in like
I had
coffee.
Kahlua
is
and
good.
vodka.
Like
It was
what do you do? Do you
the
take a
sickest
pill or
I ever got
you
from
chew a
drinking.
gummy? What do
Yeah.
you or you like
Which one? What?
Kahlua and vodka.
when you're
Edibles?
Doesn't sound
No,
right.
White
you're-
Russian.
when you're reefer.
Is that what
guy.
that is?
There's
Really?
both. You can have edibles too. There's
Horrible.
gummy cannabis gummy.
Well, what do
Yeah.
you do?
I do both. I
He
do
does it.
gummies.
What he
I
does,
do
he takes a gummy and he puts it in his eyelid and just lets it dissolve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see
Yeah. Oh
light.
man, it's whatever animal it is what you'll see.
But doesn't that make your eye kind of droop or something?
No,
Doesn't it kinda
no.
make
Well,
your-
maybe the first couple times, but he's used to it
I
now.
cannot wait to get you.
He
smoking
finally
some
sees
pot.
colors.
I'm telling
He
you.
finally sees
Yeah, I
colors
see
when he does it.
colors.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
I know. I laugh a lot. I'm telling you, there's nothing.
Does anybody
better.
remember laughter?
There's nothing better
Song
than
remains
like,
the same?
like
Anybody?
watching Mystery Science Theater
Right,
with
right.
your wife on the couch when you're
Yeah.
really high. I'm
Well,
telling you, it's great.
it is true that laughter
lovely.
has left my life recently. So
Yeah, so
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Well-
Let's have fun.
Yeah.
Go over to Cheech Marin House over there. And you're gonna
no. All right. So we all had a good holiday. Great. Good.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Ready? Yeah.
Which means what is the topic?
Our topic is
I'm all on that reefer. I'm doing some Mary Jane.
Okay, here we go. Can I do
Okay.
my thing before his thing?
However you want to do it.
I'd like to do my thing
But,
first.
but let him say with time for a listener shout out. Or do you have a shout out?
No.
You don't.
just a different little thing.
This is you let me know if
What if you did like time for a listener shout out and you go, wait a minute.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
Hold
That's
the phone.
That's great.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Wait. Hold on.
Time for a list.
Wait, James. No. I just have to
Was
say
that a little
this.
too abrupt?
No. Listen.
No, let's do this.
No. The show is called.
Wait.
Nobody's gonna even get what he was about to say. He went too.
Let him
That's
get
like-
through listener shout out and then cut him off at the
Time for
very
this
end.
little shout out. Shout out. Wait. Like that. You have to-
Yeah, there you
have
go.
to
That's
say
great.
it.
No, when we start to do the shout out
Yeah,
part,
you have
then
to say
cut
it.
us off.
Okay.
Okay.
I still think it's very funny.
It was good though.
Okay.
Good energy.
Yeah.
All right.
To go. Wait.
And so, on that note, what if you go?
Right, at the very end, they go, and Larry cries just like a little girl. Is that what they said? Because I remember what it was.
The other thing I was thinking is you go,
Funny.
keep America strong, and then I interrupt you.
That would be funny.
Yes.
And I would interrupt you by saying, I'm James Maitland.
You know what my pet peeve is? Not knowing how to end the show.
Buddy.
Yeah, we just like
What
Hate it. Don't you hate that?
keep a list of your own horror pet peeves. And it'd be funny if you said, my pet peeve is that this show won't fucking end.
yeah, I can say that. Yeah, that should be Larry saying that though.
Well,
Yeah, no, seriously, it should be Larry.
or what if he says, oh, and I just thought of another pet peeve. No.
there you go.
We shut you down.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
All right,
Yeah.
should we try it?
Yeah.
Okay.